I nearly missed the start of the stream. Oh boy. 3, 2, 1. Hello everybody, welcome to the stream. It is the Biendeo stream today on this fine 14th of July 2025. I hope you're having a wonderful week. And we'll have a wonderful week ahead of you. I literally was like, oh snap, I'm like noodling on the guitar. And I've got 60 seconds to make sure the stream starts. So I'm like, So how about let's see if I've done everything right and we can jump straight into it. Here we go. Whoop. Whoop. Also, sup, Fetty? How you doing? There we go. Okay, so, first of all, posture, because I have gotten into this terrible habit of sitting 45 degrees to my keyboard. It's not fun on my back, I tell ya. Yeah, other than that, we're... yeah, exactly. Let's have some fun. Let's talk about some fun stuff, and talk about fun things that we've been doing, as well as also fun things ahead. I have lots of strategy wiki tabs just in case I need to refer to anything, but I should be pretty good. Pretty much, I'm gonna spend the first, like, 30 minutes of the stream just kind of getting a little bit of last-minute grinding. Then we'll take just more cracks at the boss. Also, I think everyone's dead, yeah. Did I spend all my money or no? Yeah, I'm good. I think we earned a lot of money on the way back, so it shouldn't really be a problem. The only air quotes problem is, does this place have a... Oh, I went back to the very starting town, so I don't even have, like, a regular inn here. That's fine. That's fine. We know where we... Well, actually, I don't need an inn. I don't need no inn. We could just bring everyone back to life. Like this. Easy. Save the money. I just need a... There we go. I just need to stop off at another inn/church to regroup. But that's the nice thing, is that it doesn't, you know, healing is whatever. We're gonna heal whenever, so there we go. But yeah, in the last week's stream, pretty much we did the last part of oh my gosh, name. Alefgard. The last part of Alefgard, the starting area from Dragon Quest 1 and a sort of intermediate place in Dragon Quest 2. And then took a crack at the end dungeon. The end dungeon is legit like half an hour long. Yeah, exactly. Everything but the last boss. Now, there is, as well, this is not going to be a crazy short stream, but we might actually do a stream that's shorter than 3 hours. Because the amount of stuff that needs to be done, once you beat the boss, there's 2 bonus dungeons. One of the bonus dungeons is, I should be casting, Sage's Stone as well, because I didn't even sleep at the inn, but, one of the bonus dungeons is available to us right away, I believe. We should be good and going to that, I think. Maybe. If not, then I'll just meander around for the rest of the stream. But yeah, all the remakes of the game will have this extra dungeon in the game called the Sky World. We'll get into that. The Game Boy Color version in particular, and I have no idea if this is in the HD 2D remake, has its own exclusive dungeon, but we will not be able to get into that one because that requires getting a bronze monster medal for every single monster in the entire game, which is very insane. We'll get there, you know, we can get there eventually, but it's like, you're most likely not going to experience that. And certainly not for a casual stream. Like, I know how many streams I've done where it's, like, literally grinding. And, yeah, and honestly, like, in a retrospect, it's like, man, you know, like, this game arguably has the worst, like, grinding out of the 3 I've played so far. Not necessarily, it also has the most stuff going on, but the fact that, like, you know, I think I've been playing this for probably twice as long as Dragon Quest 2, which was twice as long as Dragon Quest 1, I don't feel like there's been twice as many things happening in this game compared to Dragon Quest 2. It's certainly a bigger game, and I think it makes sense that it gets to be on its own compared to Dragon Quest 1 and 2 as a combined remake. In most cases, like the SNES version, the Game Boy Color version, and the upcoming HD 2D remake of that one. But yeah, it's like, man, you know, there's a lot of me getting caught off guard. Some of this might just be my real incompetence with playing these This game in particular, I don't feel... it's weird. It's like whenever you're getting your butt kicked by a game, and especially one that kind of has a bit of a punishing kind of consequence, so it's like wandering your way back through a dungeon, having to maybe grind a bit to regain your money in order to revive your party members. All of that does kind of build up and sort of makes me feel as like, oh, you know, am I actually like, you know, good? Oh my gosh, I gotta... Oh, snap! Okay, I had like a little gnat flying around in front of me just like 2 seconds ago, and I was like, do I clap? Do I like, you know, do a big smack and make sure I got it? And I literally just clenched my fists and I grabbed him first go, which is incredible. Incredible, man. I tell ya. I don't need no clapping. I can kill insects with the power of my mind. Oh my gosh. That was a martial art move. Yeah. No, because, I mean, if you cup it right, like, if you want to, like, kill a fly like that, if you cup it right, you actually get them real easily. The problem with, like, doing a fast clap is that you can actually blow them away with the wind. Or, like, you know, with the air that you push with your hands. Like, clenching, yeah. I wouldn't exactly say it's the easiest, because obviously he can fly out faster. But, the theory holds. It worked okay. But yeah, I always have this, like, you know, kind of fear, and part of it is, like, maybe, exacerbated by a gnat theory, exactly. You're not meant to say the G in that, but it's a funny word. I was chatting to my mates about words that start with GN for Wordle, and I think we found 4 of them. Gnats would be one of them, null, gnome, and there was one other one. There's one, I've forgotten which one. But it's like, the odds of a GN word coming up might be quite low, but, also, nice, just, you know, casual kill right there. That's okay, we can do a hard revive. Oh, and then I get a hard kill on this guy. But yeah, I always worry that, especially for RPGs, I know for strategy games, and I know that well, actually, strategy games have the same kind of thing going on. I have a bit of a risk adversary. No, what's the term? What's the term when you avoid it? I worry about a game where you spend lots and lots and lots of time building up progress, only to then sort of, your cards weren't played right at the beginning, and it all falls apart. And I'm very, very fearful of playing those games, despite the fact that, yeah, risk-averse maybe? Yeah, I keep saying adverse, but it's averse. It's also some nice little level ups for Rags at the end. But yeah, the, definitely adversity of, like, sometimes I'm a bit afraid playing these games where you don't know that you're actually doing the right thing until near the end. RPGs sometimes have this, depending on how long the boss fight can go for. You know, you might actually run a bit of a, you know, like, oh my gosh, another word that's escaping me right now. Attrition, there you go. Where it's like, you're just like relying on your resources out-resourcing their resources. Things like the Sage's Stone in this game actually give you a lot more peace of mind when you think about it. Because, like, I lost that boss fight immediately. It was like one turn, already a party member's dead. And to me, I prefer RPGs where you know that you aren't ready yet. If you're constantly copying it, and if your MP is really, you know, approaching the nether regions right away. That's like roguelites popular, because even if you fail... yeah, roguelites definitely have a lot of the permanent upgrades. And depending on the RPG, you sometimes get that as well. Like, going through a dungeon, you know, like fighting that final boss wasn't for naught, because we fought half an hour of enemies along the way. So, I wouldn't say it was for naught there. There's other RPGs where sometimes it is a bit for naught, and it's like, it's a bit painful. Like, being able to kill one of these liquid metal slimes, I tell you, I'd like, if this was like, oh, you know, important boss fight and it suddenly shows up, or it's like, you know, your shiny gathering in Pokemon, it's like, oh my gosh, it's the worst feeling when you spend all this time, the opportunity arises, and then it's gone, you know. One day I'll get a crit on this liquid metal slime, but I think we've done it once. I call them liquid metal slimes because it's that in other games as opposed to metables. But yeah, so various strategy games, maybe not all of them, I don't know, but there's some strategy games that I always feel a little worried about because, you know, this whole, like, okay, set up your resources, set up your momentum, and then see if, like, you know, try to defeat your opponent, push back, and all that stuff. And it really does terrify me when it's a game where you can spend, like, 20 minutes to half an hour, even, or even longer sometimes, setting yourself up only for everything to come crashing down because you didn't quite do it right. Now, despite that, there are some games that I definitely have played that I do really enjoy, that certainly are the long game. I think Civilization is probably one of the classics. I think it's because Civilization is constantly a tug-of-war. I don't actually think that you're screwed because of a bad setup at the beginning. You might be screwed because of moment to moment. You need to keep yourself on edge the whole time. But just because you're, you know, getting attacked by other people going to war and then they're claiming cities doesn't necessarily mean you're out of the running. I think level 40 just got me an achievement. Probably did. Yeah, it doesn't mean you're out of the running right away, and that's why I actually probably warm up to Civ a bit more. But also the feedback is there, and I think that's the other part, is that Civ has, you know, it might not be the most accurate thing in the world, but the score does give you a decently broad metric as to, like, okay, you're doing good compared to your peers. Even other things like, you know, how much culture everyone's making, you know, how many cities everyone has roughly after a while. There's a lot of things that give you that feedback there. And case in point, I guess one game that I finished, and I would love to gush about for a hot moment, is Shining Force 2. I've mentioned it a few times, and I was like, oh, okay, I need to, like, really, like, binge through and nail this. And also, the bug I killed didn't die. I was like, I looked down, and I go, he's not there anymore. And I see him crawling around. I'm like, somehow, he regenerated his legs for a moment. I apologize, Bug, but I cannot allow you to live. This poor Bug. Oh. But Shining Force 2, I know, there's one monster medal. The thing is that you can get 2 bronzes as well. And then, to further explain the monster medals as well, whenever you get a bronze, so you have to get a bronze medal. It just randomly drops. I think it's like a 1 in 16 chance that it drops when it's the last enemy that is killed in a fight. That's the other thing. So liquid metal slimes are going to be like the absolute worst thing in the world, because you're never going to experience them on their own, and you have to somehow kill them last in a fight. It's not impossible, but it's going to get harder and harder to do as you go on. Well, sorry, not harder and harder. It'll get easier after, you know, you level up enough, and it's like, oh, I could just kill other party or other enemies real quickly, but it's like, man, then you gotta be able to, like, crit that liquid metal slime, like, regardless anyways. And then you gotta get your monster medal at the end, which is a 1 in 16 chance. Or you could have a fight like this. Maybe this works. Terrible fight, wow. So then I think, yeah, I know, that's a tricky one. And there's not like, it's not like there's Hatchet Man or other kinds of skills that you can use in this game to, you know, guarantee crits, or at least increase your chance of crits. It's like, nah, man, you really don't have anything other than, I guess Nyx, using a, the Cursed Axe, which has the chance of missing, but actually has a higher chance of critting. That's it. I think that's like the only thing. I think you might be able to. I forgot what the name of the axe was, or whether there's multiple of them available. I guess if you could have a full party, maybe. But then it's also a bit moot because it's like, well, also... don't get him with the double. Oh, you got him with the double. That's not very nice. How could you? It's kind of weird that, like, the end boss probably isn't going to kill people that harsh. But yeah, Shining Force 2 is a tremendous game. I would highly recommend it. I actually really loved it after playing through it a bit more and understanding its mechanics a bit more and playing it right up until the end, and then promptly getting my main character death spelled in the post-credits final boss fight. And I was a bit upset there because that means you have to fight the final boss again. You can grind, you can gain some extra levels and kind of whoop everything after a bit if you really wanted to, but I was like, whatever. It doesn't exactly give you anything other than a sense of pride and accomplishment, so I was fine there. But yeah, Shining Force 2, what I really liked about it, and especially compared to the first game, was a couple of things. One, I didn't feel like my main character was useless. He was able to take a lot of damage, and then also was really, like, versatile in you know, and just, like, being there for other party members. He didn't, you know, he still has the same ability, which is an area of effect zap ability, and that's it, which you'll probably only use once or twice in a battle because the mana points are so intense on that one. But yeah, no, he was really nice there. I liked how there was also a Phoenix character you'd get very early on in the game, and his gimmick, I guess, is that as a Phoenix, he never is permanently dead. He is always, like, reviving himself after the fight. That does mean that he gets knocked out after the fight, but then he flies, and he's got kind of, I don't know, is it like a Sonic kind of attack? He, like, shouts at people and attacks them, and it does a fair bit of damage, and he's very trustworthy to sort of just have as, like, the moves around quickly, because all flying and party members are generally a bit higher on the mobility as well. And then, yeah, just issue some one-hit damage. He doesn't exactly have any other abilities, and characters like him where they only have, they don't equip weapons, will ultimately be a little bit behind by the end of the game when it comes to, I guess, like, dealing damage, because how it works roughly, and the game was really good at this, is that you'll go to a new place. They'll often have a store. They might have one or two new bits of equipment, and then you can use that on, depends on the class of character to what they can equip. But usually when you can buy something, you can. Like, you're not skimping for money too much in this game. Which is a bit interesting, I guess, because it's like, well, what's the point of money, I guess? But then, I don't know. Nice and comfy, at least for me. And then, yeah, you buy the weapon, and now that character seems to be very good for a few battles time, and then eventually they sort of fall off. Characters that don't equip weapons, what's the point of money? Characters that don't equip weapons will often be weaker than the ones that just equip weapons, and stronger than the ones that are about to get a weapon at the next place but haven't yet. They seem to ride that line really well the whole game. And I really like how that means that every character goes in and out of being the most useful, or maybe not as much. But the nice thing as well is that, and I know, like, it seems quite obvious on paper, and we've probably played a lot of RPGs that are like this. Experience is curved. You get more experience if you're weaker than the enemy, and you get virtually no experience once you're too over-leveled. But the way, it's such a dramatic curve that it actually makes it feel quite nice to be able to boost older characters who you haven't maybe given as much love back up, give them the opportunity to sort of get final taps and get those extra experience points on enemies, rather than just like the pure damage they do. Because that's the thing as well, is that you get more experience, you get experience on every hit, but you'll also get experience on every kill, like, as a bit of a bonus. And so I started getting into the strategy where, like, oh, I need to bring up some characters up a few levels. So I brought a party of very strong characters who could mostly who could 2-tap the enemies. And then I brought my weak character to just sort of like be along for the ride and maybe even do like the final tap. And at first he was so weak he could only do like 1 damage. But then I was like, okay, just like, you know, let's find an area where the enemies are weak enough where that, you know, you can actually get a kill. Just bring him up casually and make it so that, you know, he's not being aggroed by other enemies. Maybe like get him in there, you know, get a hit and then just clear out the space just so he doesn't die all the time. And then eventually, you know, he starts to be able to work his way up, and within like 30 minutes sounds like a lot of time. 20, 30 minutes, it's like, yeah, you can bring a character up like all the way to an endgame status if you're already at an endgame status, just because, just by virtue of being able to throw him into harder fights and support him with your other party members. It's very eloquent how it all works out like that. The other thing I really like as well is that there's some secret items that allow you to promote your character once they hit level 20 in this game. It's level 10 in the previous game. They promote their class, and then they can equip new weapons, as well as also they gain new abilities, and some characters actually split off into their own kind of unique little classes there. So there's a thief character early on in the game, and he promotes himself into a ninja class. So suddenly he wields swords and can do... he's got some fancy ninja abilities, but he can also move very fast. And that's great, because that was the character that I was like, oh, you know, I wasn't feeling too happy about him. You know, he was like, oh, he's a thief class, but there's nothing to steal from enemies. He's just a slower, weaker character. And then he becomes an incredibly fast, fairly competent, you know, like swordsman, because ninjas, I guess, use swords. It was really great by the end of the game, so it was a great feeling. And I guess the biggest thing for me was that you were very free to experiment. You lose a fight, you just retry the fight. The only fight that you gotta do like 2 in a row is the final boss. And there's plenty of areas in the game where you can just re-encounter enemies, whereas in the first game you were sort of like constantly bound by the one fight you're up to. So if you didn't have characters leveled up, it would have been a very big struggle at the end of the game to just sort of bring them back up. But yeah, this feels like, hey, you know, if something doesn't work, you try something new. And yeah, it was very, very smooth. So that, as well as the presentation, was quite nice. I like how that Phoenix character, as well as also there's a wizard in your party, will constantly chime in conversations and provide inputs or insights into everything, as well as also they've got a lot of lore, they've got a lot of history behind them, as well as the people they interact with. So a lot better than the first game, where effectively characters had to talk at you because you were a very silent protagonist and you didn't really have other people saying too much. But yeah, no, the story felt nice and grand. It had its twists and turns. I also liked how the villains would show up a couple of times. There's other games I've played, and there's another one I'll mention. Yeah, I mean, all of them got translated, except Shining Force 3 only translated the first part. Yeah, there's a decent bit of dialogue. It is a Mega Drive game. It's not like as much as maybe some other games might have, but yeah, Shining Force 3 is fun because it came out on three separate releases in Japan, and then they made a big, nice collection of all 3 of them. But yeah, though, there's a fan translation of 2 and 3, and hopefully soon someone does a retro achievement out of those 2. They only did the first one, whoever's done it. So also, it's such good fun as well, because just from a retro achievement standpoint, because the first 2 games are like some of the like first 100 games on the site. A lot of Mega Drive games were in the very early days of getting registered, and yeah, though this set is from 2013. It's a vintage retro achievement set. So there's a couple of modernities I would probably point out, and I go, hey, you know, like for example, there's a lot of achievements relating to acquiring party members, and also there's ones for promoting them. There's not a crazy amount for getting through the battles in the game. So depending on how you play the game, you might actually have way more achievement points than other people. I guess that's that. But Yeah, for the most part, I mean, like, hey, you know, it's a working achievement set, and I'd say that's 75% of the work already, so, hey, that's good work there. But yeah, no, it's kind of interesting that it's like, oh, you know, all the way back from 2013, an achievement set, so very nice fun there. But yeah, music's great. I would like maybe a few more battle themes and stuff, but no, it's nice. The presentation's really nice. And yeah, solid amount of gameplay as well. Like, not to say that, like, NES and SNES games, you know, like, this is an NES game, technically. It's a Game Boy Color game, but it's based on an NES game, which might be based on an MSX game. What was the first console for Dragon Quest III? Hold on. Was it an NES game at first? It was. Yes. Oh yeah, no MSX release. Okay. Yeah, first release for the family computer. The family computer. Everyone's favorite. You know, I might as well just start the walk to the boss. And I really want one liquid metal slime kill. Oh well. But yeah, no, highly recommend. I would probably even say, or not probably, I would definitely say, don't worry if you haven't played Shining Force 1. It's fine to go back to it. You might feel a couple of the mechanics like aren't quite as solid, but it is a very similar game. I'd probably say it's not too, it won't throw you off too much to, you know, play 2 before 1. I do know that, as well as I mentioned Shining Force 3, but also don't forget there's a Shining Force CD, which there it is, by the way. We got one in the end. We got one. There's a Shining Force CD, which incorporates the 2 Game Gear games that came out before, and then also extends both of them by 2. It then integrates the 2 stories together in an epilogue, which is very nice and fun. So I'll get around to that eventually, but I'm not there yet. I just sort of played that, and I was like, yeah, no, it's really solid. So yeah, great game. Great game. The other one that I've been playing, and I've sort of been binging it real hard, so I actually have the entirety of the game other than some post-game achievements I'm hunting down, and it's kind of typical fashion for this company, but the other game I've been playing through is Dark Cloud for the PS2. It's not a launch title, it didn't, but it came out very early in its release. It's a December 2000 game for the PS2, which was very shortly after it came out in America. I think the PS2 was in March. Was it the first Level 5 game? Oh, that's interesting. Because there's so many of their hallmarks already in it. It's so iconic for what Level 5 usually does. And I'm really, like, I definitely recommend it. I need to wrap my thoughts around it a bit more. But yeah, to sort of explain the game, it's another RPG, but the gimmick that you've got going on is that the main core gameplay is a real-time dungeon crawler game. You walk around randomized dungeons, and your goal is to find a key and an end kind of staircase that needs a key in order to get through, in order to progress to the next floor. On the way, every floor will have these things called atlas. They're like weird little like capsules. And the plot of the game is that you live in this village, and the village was attacked by a dark genie that was just resurrected. And the one, was it the Fairy King? He captured, or he contained all the citizens and the buildings in these capsules, in these atlas, so that someone can restore everything and put it all back, like protecting them in it. And yeah, I'm like, but you put them all in the dangerous dungeon. How could you? You know, so you set out on your quests, and you make your way through the dungeon. Each floor also has like chests, and it's got various enemies. Also, the key is always held by one of the enemies, so you've always got to fight your enemies to get through, that kind of stuff. But the combat is very much Ocarina of Time. I think Ocarina of Time is probably the most love-lettered game in this mix. Am I about to kill him without... I think I spoke too soon, actually. But Ocarina of Time is very much love-lettered in this whole game. The combat's got that kind of lock-on and kind of free camera system. The second character, there's 6 characters and they all have a different combat style. Yeah, I just straight defeated that liquid metal slime. Oh, we got another one. There we go. Yeah, the second character is literally just like a slingshot user. For the most part as well, like, every character's got something different going on. They've also got charge abilities, so I guess there's that, but you don't have as much, like, combat abilities as you do in Ocarina of Time, and you certainly don't have, like, you know, puzzle-solving dungeons. The dungeons are very straightforward. They consist of 4, 5, or 6 rooms. They got corridors connecting the rooms, and the key is always in some accessible spot. Sometimes there is another key to open another door on the dungeon. Oh, I wouldn't say roguelite, I'd just say it's a dungeon crawler. Because there's dungeon crawlers all over that have randomized dungeons of some variety. And that was like something that they taught me in like very first computing classes, like how to do a maze. Maybe not very first computing class, but certainly early on. Mazes are quite simple. So but yeah, it's neat from that one. Now the atlas, the things that you pick up, you'll often in each dungeon, sort of think of it like worlds, and you have to basically clear a whole world in order to continue to the next dungeon. But in each dungeon, you'll find a new party member, as well as also you'll then back out of the dungeon to get more resources, because you have to, 1, drink water all the time, which is annoying at first, and then eventually it becomes like I forget it even exists, because a lot of floors, not all of them, and it is randomized, but they'll sometimes have just like a pool, and you can use the pool to, you know, as many times as you want while you're on that floor to recover your health and your thirst. So I'm like, once you've upgraded your thirst so much, as well as also it's per character, so when you switch characters, you know, your thirst is high again on the new character. I kept forgetting that it was like, oh yeah, I got a drink, because you got so much thirst, it doesn't matter really. But also, all your weapons have durability, and this is the part that I find the game is incredibly brutal about. When a weapon breaks, it is completely gone. It is super duper gone. And you can put yourself in a position where you are like, I have no weapons and I'm basically starting from scratch again. It's an absolute, like... yeah, it's worse than Breath of the Wild, I'll say that. Not just because, you know, like, oh, your weapons break all the time. But, like, it's worse because your experience points are applied against the weapon you use. And so when that weapon breaks, you have nothing to show. And it's absolute pain. There is an item in the game that you probably want to have at least one on your hotbar at all times, which, when your weapon does break, it auto-repairs it. It's a bit pricey compared to the manual ones, and it's literally just going into the menu and tapping a button. Like, it's literally just that. But, and there's a bit of flow I will criticize, where it's like, I wish I didn't have to keep pausing the game all the time. Some of the boss fights later on as well, each of your weapons, actually, I'll explain it a bit just now, but each of your weapons has to, yeah, it's got that experience bar, and when you hit the max experience for it, you can level it up, which basically just increases all of its, like, you know, its attack, the speed you attack, the endurance rating, which just determines how long it takes for the bar to go down, and the effectiveness of magic, all that goes up by 1. But also, all weapons have stats for 5 elements: fire, ice, Thunder, Wind, and Holy. And then they also have some extra stats for deals bonus damage against certain families of enemies. So like mimics or undead or mages or any flying enemies, that kind of stuff. All of those stats, every single one of those, can be influenced with attachments. And the attachments, this is where the meat and bones of the game are. You'll often find in dungeons attachments like, you know, sometimes they'll be like, oh, you know, up attack by 1 or 3 even, or up the you know, the wind by 3, or it gives you you know, anti-mimic +3 or something like that. It doesn't take too long to be able to equip. Sorry, wait. When before I get there, when you level up a weapon, all the attachments that you've got on it, and you can really only have 2. Some weapons go up to 4, but for the most part, like, it's not too many. All the attachments permanently bind to the weapon, and that allows you to take attachments, effectively, you know, commit them onto the weapon, and then be able to attach more attachments to commit onto the weapon. That's where you really get your weapon leveling up from. You then need to eventually evolve the weapon into a new base type of weapon, because its stats will limit out at some point. You'll probably get its attack up to a certain point, and then it goes, oh, the attack's too high. So you need to evolve it, and in order to evolve it, you need to get specific stats up to a certain amount. This gets very painful because one thing that you can do as well is that when a weapon hits level 5, you can actually turn it into one of those gems that you can then equip onto other weapons. It maintains 60% of its stats, and that generally means that you can, you know, like if you've got like one, you know, you've got a weapon, you've given it a bit of love. You can put its stats, or 60% of its stats, onto another weapon, and it's like, well, that weapon's like 60% better than what it was, or even better than that. And you'll generally be pushing the, you know, like the attack stats and all that stuff of your weapons up quite nicely because of that. What you won't be doing is exactly adding, like, you know, elementals abilities, or the anti-mimic or whatever, like that kind of stuff. That, you know, 60% of your existing stats is like, okay, well, that's like 3 out of 5, I guess, like, gems I have on it actually counted. And so you end up in the system where, like, oh, after a while you realize, oh, okay, I shouldn't be, like, turning my weapons into gems to boost the attack stats of other weapons, because that limits out at some point. I should be trying to boost one weapon up all the way through the ranks. But by that point, it's like it still takes its sweet time really happening. So you end up in this weird state where, and not to say that like you're screwed if you do it a certain way, because what ends up happening, and effectively what carried me through the game, is that throughout dungeons you'll sometimes just find weapons in chests. And they'll just be like base versions of weapons, but some of them I'm like, I've got multiple of the second best weapon for, or maybe not second best overall, but like, it's like one level away from being the best weapon for the third character in the game. I leveraged his weapon so much because it was like, oh, it's so good. And it was a bit weird because it's like, everything I see says, oh, like that third character in the game is like the worst character, and, you know, he's so slow, whatever. And I'm just like, his attack does 350 damage to the end boss per hit, and my main character does 10. I don't know what I was doing wrong, but there's such a massive disparity of damage between that. Fortunately, he wasn't the only character I had. The second and fourth characters I had a lot of decent love on as well. They seem to have quite a fair bit of damage out of their weapons. But yeah, it's like, I sort of relied a lot on the RNG giving me weapons, and just sort of like having a nice base weapon to just sort of bump up a little bit. Which is a bit of an odd way of going about it, but That was one, at the end of the day, I do feel like it's a game that doesn't punish you for its strange kind of, except for when your durability dies. Then you get punished real hard. Also, I finally did it. I finally wandered back into the castle. There we go. On our way to Viridian City. We'll get there soon. And if I die in the boss, then I don't know, we'll just take another crack at him. But given how much my characters have been leveling up, like, this past 40 minutes, having to do 4 whole floors of a dungeon for every try. Well, you don't have to do 4 whole floors of a dungeon. So the very, very nice thing is every single floor of the dungeon always prompts you if you want to leave the dungeon there, and you can always start the dungeon at any floor, including the next one. There is no punishment for leaving a dungeon between floors. The only punishment for leaving a dungeon mid-floor is that you have to do the floor again, and also if there's enemies on the floor, you have to use a powder item, which only costs like 20 gold, and part of me feels, why is that even there? But that's fair. But yeah, no, it's very, like, generous in that one. The one thing that, well, you have to visit the floor first. So you have to, like, you can only do floor 1 to start. Once you beat floor 1, you can leave the dungeon, come back and do floor 2 right away. You don't have to go through the floors again and again. So there's no, which is a bit odd as well, because between floors, like, you can just leave and come back and it resets your health. Oh, sorry, no, sorry. The other game, Dark Cloud. Dark Cloud, the floors are like that. This game, no, yeah, no. And it's 5 floors. It's all good. It's all good. I got my the worst part as well is that level 5 then made Dragon Quest 8 3 years or 4 years after that. So it's like, you know, they're back to Dragon Quest as well. No, it's all good. It's all good. So, to spice things up with Dark Cloud, and I actually kind of like this. Oh yeah, it's good for Dark Cloud. Like, it's nice and comfy. You apart from your weapons maybe dying, and to that I would just say, just save. You can save wherever outside the dungeons. So just do that very often. Just make sure that you've got, like, you know, some healing powder, some repair powder. But you definitely do start the game in a bit of a, again, like, a bit of an attrition state, because when you start the game, there's a chief guy, and the chief guy will be like, oh, here's some basic items to get you going, and every time you run out of any of those items, you can chat to him and he'll give you another one, but he only gives you 1 healing powder, and 1 piece of bread, and 1 bottle of water, and you will often be, like, getting just barely through 1 floor before you're like, okay, I need that again. And then you go back up to him, and it's like, well, I want to repair my weapons. So I repair my weapon, and then I talk to him to get more repair powder afterwards. Or I used my repair powder in the dungeon, so I talk to him to get a repair powder. And then I... Whoop. There you go. I was like, which way are we doing? There we go. We're good. We're almost good. So you kind of have to do that for a bit. But the little atlas that you get in the dungeon, what they're really used for, and I kind of like this, it's nice and chill, is that you get to kind of be a bit act-raisery at the end, and you get to place them around in a town, and if you place down enough items and you do the things that they want, you know, quest events will happen, and you'll need to do that, because in order to get through the game, you'll need, you know, like, say, another party character comes along. I know Rags is on, like, barely any health. Rags will be fine, maybe. I'll just do a revive otherwise. I don't think there's any risk really going to this dungeon anymore. But you'll need to do that. But it's a nice, like, change in pace. You're doing, like, you know, you're placing down the buildings and just kind of keeping it chill. Keeping it chill. And then on top of that, there's fishing. And the fishing is quite straightforward. It's just like you get some, you know, you'll get baits in the dungeons, and you'll use the baits to, you know, to get fish. The fish give you fish points, and use the fish points to redeem them for, like, at first you might be tempted to get like a little, you know, like, oh, easy, you know, kind of stat item, or maybe like a healing item. No, you want to get the gems, because gems are very big stat items, and it prevents you from having to grind for leveling up your weapons all the time. So it's just worth it doing that. There we go. Okay. That would have been tragic if I got to that last floor and then I was like, whoops. Did I say 5 floors? You're right, it is 4. There's a 5th floor, but I never went to it. It's got tiny metals, I think, on the floor. But I'm like, I haven't been doing tiny metals, so it's like, whatever. I think if you've got all the tiny metals in the game, basically, there might be an actually really good weapon that you can have by now. Not the Gringham Whip, although I do know that's there. And also, that's not really that useful for the boss fight. Because there's only one person, so it's like, why do you need a whip? But yeah. But yeah, other than that, then, you know, you rinse and repeat a few times and you go through dungeons, and then you help out the town, you learn a bit of lore, you experience a bit of story, and then you move on to the next town, and it's nice and chill. Maybe the difficulty goes a bit inverse. Like, I think some of the early game boss fights, especially when you don't have a system for really getting weapons at all, or if you even find a weapon, because you're sort of a bit screwed. Every character has a starting weapon just to make sure that you don't have nothing, but the starting weapon is very trash. And if you do find anything better, then it's better. You know, you'll be using that all the time. But the starting weapon also doesn't even evolve into anything. It's very hard, because I got up to the first boss and I hadn't found any other weapons. I'm just like sitting there going, I can't deal that much damage with this boss. Something's up. And honestly, I had to grind a bit, just in the first dungeon. I didn't have to grind at any other point in the game. But I had to grind in the first dungeon. Which is a bit odd. So, and then yeah, I mentioned that the attrition on having to only have one repair item was quite rough. I didn't realize until after that dungeon that I could have had a shop. I didn't make any of it in time, and I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, no, we got there in the end, so... Well, because the shop isn't... like, it's not constructed, it's in the town. So you have to find all the bits in the dungeons in order to make the shop, and they highlight very clearly, like, how many, like, atlas are in each floor. So there's not, you know, there's no mystery in you missed one, or even any random luck that, like, one appears. It's like, no, like, literally, if you ever go to that floor, it's gonna spawn all the remaining atlas for you, so you can always find them. But yeah, like, I hadn't, yeah, I hadn't set it up right until way too late, so... Because I was going through the dungeon, I was like... I'm pretty sure you do need to get through... Like, most of the dungeons in the game have, like, between 15 to 18 floors. I'm pretty sure you have to get through, like, 13 of them before you can make the shop. It's a fair bit of work, so I was like, well, what's the point of, you know, the other 5? What's the risk? Also, you don't have that much money in the first world. This doesn't really... it doesn't really happen very much, so... Yeah. But no, other than that, it is a very chill game. I sort of rinse and repeat that, you know, that strategy a bit, and then, you're, you know, you blitz through it, and, I think there's a bit of overhead with its mechanics. You do need to just sort of, like, throw yourself at it and try and understand it a bit more over time. But you'll get there. And the game, it's not particularly that tricky, but you'll get there. So, As well as also, random elements always mean everyone's got a kind of different attitude with, you know, which characters they like and which ones they don't, and I think that's actually kind of fun when it works out okay. So, yeah, certainly unique. It's got an even greater sequel, apparently, but I won't be playing that right away, because otherwise, too many RPGs that I have sequels to play, because here I am, I'm going to probably play Xenosaga 3, and then we're done with Xenosaga, unless I count Blades, in which case there's a lot of those. I have Shining Force, I just mentioned, and I've also got Phantasy Star that I would like to get around to, so that'll be fun. Or Phantasy Star Online, for reference, not any other mainline Phantasy Star. That's technically the PS2 Xenosaga Fandus game. Which one? I don't know which one you're referring to. Oh, Xeno Freaks, is that the one? Maybe. Xenosaga 2 left a bit of a rougher taste in my mouth. Not for its post-game, but rather just because it did drag down what I liked about the first one. And that's always, I guess the thing with sequels is that you'll always, like, either you get a nice Shining Force 2 where it's everything and more, or, you know, it's pulled back a bit. We'll see when I play it. But yeah, no, it's, you know, I'm knocking them out of the park right now. I'm feeling good about the ones I am playing, so. Yeah, and it's not that Xenosaga 2 is, like, that bad, but it does feel like not as much happened, and a lot of what I really liked about the first game was its presentation and story, and it's like, it's not that much in the second game. And they also made some of the characters less chibi, but then kept some characters being chibi, which is a very odd choice. I don't know. I got some, you know, some thoughts about a lot of things in that game. I think the other thing as well is that they highly encourage doing the side quests because your rewards for the side quests are often special moves or other abilities that you'll need. True, there's that, yeah. But for Xenosaga 2, you get special abilities that you kind of need. You'll definitely want some of those. In order to get through the game, and in order to do that you have to do the side quests, and almost every side quest is talking to people, running to place, doing a very simple mini-game or something like that, but a lot of it adds time, and quite a bunch of it is, you know, laborious. It doesn't feel like it ties in with the rest of the game that much, but then it's like, oh look, you know, here's a you know, an absolute god tier ability that when you're charging up your boost, you avoid most attacks. It's like, oh, why would I not want that? It's like, oh, okay, so, yeah, you just gotta work for it. You just gotta work for it. And not to say that RPGs can't have, like, laborious tasks or things like that, but I think the highs of Xenosaga 2 weren't as high, and then this definitely dragged out the lows. It dragged out the dead time and felt like... That's why I feel like not a lot happened. Also, let's make sure I'm definitely holding the light orb. I've made sure I'm holding the light orb, because I need the light orb right now. We need to have that. Yes. I had it in my inventory the whole time, I just didn't use it. I'm like, oh, I should have. So, also, on top of that, who is the quickest character? Ironically, maybe I should give it to Nyx, because Nyx or Rags might attack quicker. Not Rags, actually. Nyx might be able to use it sooner. Or I just give it to Air first go. I'm in a bit of a weird kind of position here, because if I go info, because the nice thing is that you can see all your spells here. Because when I start the fight, the obvious thing that I want to do is that I want to cast barrier for the breaths, and then I'm like, I guess Rags can do the barrier, and then increase for giving myself defense, and I'm pretty sure. Okay, so Rags can cover both, because I was like, yeah, I was like, it might have been a bit of a risk if it's like, well, Air's got the Sage Stone. So you know what I actually might do? I might give the orb to Air, just so Air can do it first turn. Also, I don't know if I have to fight all those other bosses first. Hopefully not. Let's see. He is over here again.
You again, persistent, but what compels you to cling so tenaciously to a non-existent hope? I am the destroyer of all life should be sacrificed to me! Despair will rule the world!
Nope, we're fighting the mini-bosses. We're fighting the mini-bosses, okay. Sure. Think about it, that's actually kind of brutal, isn't it? So, okay, so I've got my, as well, I've got my, my enemy list here. I can tell you how much health all of these fellas have. Other than I should have cast a barrier on this one, just to... Well, not barrier, but, should have cast increase, just to sort of reduce some of the damage, in case he attacks more than once. There you go. But, this Hydra has, 1600 health. So, I mean, it's probably not the end of the world. And remember as well, I fought most of these guys, you know, with less health than before, so it's not too bad. Yeah, 1600 isn't really that much. And he does have a breath. I know he's got a breath, so... Secretly, this was the longest part of the getting back to the boss. It was just having to deal with 3 mini-bosses before the real boss. Which has 2 phases. Yeah, that's fun mentioning the final boss has 2 phases as well. Yeah. Yeah, I was like, I've got enough breath defenses that, like, his own breath attacks probably aren't too bad. I mean, the fact he's doing it twice a turn's not the most fun thing in the world, but... yeah. So, yeah, other than that, I mean, I'm working my way through the remaining achievements on that set. Whoever, I think it was Fridge, did that set, and it's a real solid set for a game. There's enough things where it's like, even if it's a first-time playthrough, they're like, oh, just keep these in mind, maybe have like a thing open to say, hey, you're at this point in the game, there's a missable coming up, so just note that. But yeah, no, otherwise it's a very nice and chill set. Bada-bomus! Bada-bomus! Let's cast increase again. The Barabomus, according to this, only has 1100 health, which makes him even quicker, but the Intense Flames might be... Yeah, the Intense Flames definitely worse, so I should actually barrier that. So good to know. Okay, I saw barrier on this list. Where is it? There it is. I was like, 100%, it's gotta be in there. There you go. Unfortunately, it doesn't protect against this. Twice? Come on. Hey yo, what part of attacking twice a turn did you forget? He's just going for it, man. He doesn't even care. He's got a bit of defense, doesn't he? Might have to give him a sap just to sort of drag him down a little bit, I think. I mean, I'm probably further towards his end than his beginning, but still. Yeah, he's got no chill. Wow. Yeah, get some healing back. And he's back to the intense flames, so... And Nyx just seems to be missing all the time, so that's good fun. At the very least, Air is faster than the boss right now. It should be good, but still. It's just like, keeps hitting hard, doesn't he? And attacking 3 times a turn, which is quite gnarly. I don't remember him dodging that much. Another word that starts with GN. Game is Nexus. But 5-letter words, because we were talking about Wordle in particular. There you go. Gnarly, yeah, Gnarly's a 6-letter word, but Gnarl on its own is fine. One more mini-boss. And this guy has 3,000 health, so, yeah, he's a bit. I think I've cast Increase right away, didn't I? Yeah. Actually, do I even have Increase on? I've got Barrier, I don't think I've got Increase on. Okay. Oh, that's fine. I'll just cast Increase over here. There we go, so... but yeah, lots of RPGs. It'll be good fun playing some more stuff later. I wish I had more progress updates on the driving game. I've mostly been doing menus, which sound a bit boring, but there's always... I've done some nice little fun kinds of quality of life things to help make it a bit quicker for me. So in particular, I spent a bit of effort implementing a bit of a strategy pattern in sort of in the engine, like not really quite in the engine, but just like enough to make it feel enough to get me to do what I'm doing. So the explanation of what I'm intending to do is that the menu, if we're trying to not emulate Gran Turismo, but to sort of have a menu that's in the same spirit of that game, is to effectively have icons or buttons, really, and then there'll be a digital cursor that can bounce between the buttons, and you'll operate that cursor using the D-pad, and it'll just jump to the next button in that direction. That's the main kind of design choice there. Obviously, that would translate to a mouse fairly well. I don't think there's, like, any problem with, like, allowing the player to then move the mouse around, and then that's, you know, they can just click on things like that. But having the ability to... This guy hits hard even with the increases, doesn't he? Yeah, wow. As well as also the double attacks at times. Oh. I don't know what's up with the misses, though, I'll tell you that. Oh! There's copping it. Oh. But, yeah, just having, like, buttons and then being able to do this will be the way to go. It seems to me, I think that, you know, if you're using a controller, you're most likely going to have a back button. If you're on a mouse, I don't think you'll have a back button that you can press. But on a controller you will, and I think it should be quite straightforward to implementing a, you know, like every menu has a return button, but then also like physically on screen, but then also like, hey, you can just hit back and it does some kind of back behavior. And then every button on the menu should have a click behavior, where it's like when you click the button, what does it do? It's very easy to hard code all of this in all your menus, and it starts getting a bit kind of cumbersome, because then it's like, oh, you know, every single button needs to, you know, be updated if you change the behavior in this one place. Also, we're ready to fight the boss, so let's make sure that everyone is healed. Time for the actual final boss. Yes. I'm gonna get Air to do most of the healing now, and that was it really, but that was it. I'm pretty confident, because main character's healed, 200, 440, 231. We're good.
What drives you to struggle? We already read this last time. You shall breathe your last within my arms.
So you know it's serious, because the music has kicked in. I don't think I have any, just to double check, yeah, I really don't have any other, like, fancy attacks, to really, like, mention. I do have, Thordane, which, for reference is, later on, called Kazap. It's just the super duper good lightning ability. And, it uses 30 magic, which is, like, it's not the worst, but, it's a bit... It hits all enemies, but it's like, man, you know, level 41, I'm already, you know, so far down the line. So, main thing, Air has the light orb. I'm using the light orb first turn, and then I'm gonna barrier, just to sort of prevent any magic or any breaths from really ruining everyone's days right now. Oh, he attacks first! Don't you dare. Oh. Oh. Oh my goodness. Holy crap. I was petrified just then. So you knew... can you read any of that, by the way? I was petrified just then. That was insane. Okay. I've also got Heal Us All. That's like... That's like a last-ditch one. Look at that. Look at that. That's insane. Honestly, I don't know if he's going to hit me that hard. I would prefer to just get the double healing, like, right out of the gate. But he is a lot slower, and also he doesn't hit as hard, but he is still going to hit. Oh, yeah, 122 is a bit gnarly. Please don't hit Air. Okay, just hit Nyx a couple of times. That's okay. That's okay. We can start to recover from this. So, Zoma here has 4,700 health. He's got a fair bit. So, it's a fair bit of a fight to to get through here. I'm gonna dedicate Sage Rock healing. Actually, am I? No, I'm gonna put main character is gonna do a heal all on Nyx just to make sure Nyx doesn't die, and then I'm gonna make sure that Sage Rock, Nyx attacks, and then I'm gonna get Rags to do an increase because the physical attack was quite insane just then. Okay, here we go. Yeah, the blizzard's not going to be as bad. It's still kind of bad, but it's not going to be as bad because of that that barrier that's there. Still, though, I feel a little more confident if I can sap him, just get his defense down and be able to deal a bit more damage. That'd also be nice. But you can see that, like, 68 is, like, not tons high. I think we're just sort of going to be going for a while. Yeah, did you see that as well? Icy Pulse, just then? There you go, I can drop his defense. But, yeah, yeah, here comes the pain point, because it's like... He can, you know, this is the first example of the, what's the term? What's the spell later on? I don't know, it's a classic Dragon Quest staple to have a spell that removes your setups. So it's just like, you're setting up, you got your barrier, and then suddenly, whoops, don't have it anymore. I worry about having enough magic, yeah. So I need to make sure that I've got the increase and the barrier both in the same turn, just in case. Because, yeah, there's a blizzard, like, right away, and if I didn't have that barrier just then, this would be tearing. Unfortunately, I don't have the... Yeah, I was like, I don't have the defense right there, so... Hopefully, though, we're getting through this a bit more. This is going to be a bit terrifying, because it's like, oh, I need to, like... somehow... keep Rags afloat for the whole fight for doing support. The sap should help, because 147 damage is a good amount of damage. That's a terrifying state for air to be in, but... I could mix it up as well, but we'll sort of... Yeah, actually no, we'll get Biendeo to heal there. I'm playing it safe, but I'm like, I need to make sure that Rags isn't, like, dripping so hard. Oh, actually a bit tense now. Oh. And that was after a bit of grinding as well, wasn't it? That's fun. That's fun, isn't it? Okay, let's see. I know I've got Vivify, but I might just do the double attack and then do the Revive. Oh, I don't actually have Revive. Okay, back up. We're gonna panic a little bit. Okay. Oh, did you just do that again? Okay. Oh, come on! No! This is gonna get quite antsy if I'm constantly having to revive. He is doing this Icy Pulse every turn, which is a bit fortunate, I guess, but... Alright. The heal us is bringing back. Okay, barrier. Nyx is just there. Nyx is fine for the turn. Increase. Wherever it's gone, increase. We're good. We're good. Barrier's back. He's being a bit cruel though, isn't he? Like really, he's going straight after air there. Is my problem because I've got air as spot number 2 in the party? Is that... I know of RPGs that do this, and I kind of hate the concept of, like, they just go after party order. No, because he keeps going after air and not Biendeo. Has he ever attacked Biendeo directly? I don't think he has, at all. Oh my gosh. Ah. Come on. Come on. I'm getting real unlucky, aren't I? Alternatively, by the way, air is, like, has all the spells I need. So I don't know, but, man, this would be so disappointing if it's like, yeah, it's not really the finale. I'm gonna be so upset if it's like, yep, you just gotta grind more. Just stop going after air, please. There you go. Main character hit. Blizzard is not gonna be fun. There you go, okay. We're alive for the moment. Do I have to, like, remind him? You know, like, cast, use the orb again, just to bring him back down? I'm gonna cast Increase, because him singling out people is actually worse than the breaths right now. Like, the Blizzard's kind of annoying, but, like, greetings, Blub! I'm going through pain because he keeps singling out the main character. Yes. Yeah, we're up to the final boss now. He keeps singling out the main character here. It's absolute torture. And I'm a bit worried because, like, Rags is, not in the fun part. No, I didn't grind it. I have a rule which is nothing doesn't get recorded. So if I ever did do anything between streams, I would 100% film it and put it on YouTube. Because I really want to highlight everything that happens. And when did you go for the boss? I started going 40 minutes ago. It's only the first time, but I have, like, I did like 30 minutes of grinding at the beginning, and then I've just like gone back into it. But yeah, part of me is very worried because, yeah, look how little magic I've got left on Rags. But here's the thing, is that, like, would it be fun if I'm not, like, writing that line, you know? Everyone likes a good old, you know, upbeat kind of push for the end. It's for the content, exactly. Hits like that, by the way, that do 274 damage would be great. Okay. This is a terrifying position, so I think this is... Yeah, I wish I had to heal us, but not heal us all, because it's, like, kind of awkward to have both chilling. Actually, better. Yeah, better. Let's drop a heal all on Rags. Just get him up. I say him. You know how it is. But yeah, that every time. That combination is just brutal. Another increase. We need to keep that defense up. Keep that morale up. Blizzard Schmizzard. Oh, why does that one do so much damage all of a sudden? They were doing like... Oh, of course you go for the healer again. So, the running theory I have is that maybe Air deserves to get the Sage roll again, and then start from level 1. Because here's the thing, is that Air hasn't had a class change, and I feel like Air is actually being dragged down by the fact that she could just have her stats halved, and then gain 50 bajillion levels real quickly. But I absolutely hate that I'm in that position right now, where it's like, oh my goodness, like... That was the Icy Pulse after the attack as well. Panic a bit. I'm still panicking. You know it's good when just missing. Come on, come on. As long as I can pull through, that's the only thing. Oh, a crit. It's always good. But yeah, 4,700 health is a ton. So yeah, so the alternative is just either getting Air to be a Sage or just getting Air to be a Warrior. Because, like, Air's already got all the healing abilities, so... It's not really any downside to sort of switching classes. Just go for it, just wing it. Oh! Oh! Oh, and I got a mini medal. Or a monster medal.
Well done, you've won. But so long as there is light, so too will there be darkness. I see it, even now. Others will emerge from darkness. You won't live to see it.
Oh, time for a bit of a seizure. Oh. So fortunately, I have an opportunity to give Rags a bit of magic back. Because, what's the one? The Ruby Ring. Isn't it the Ruby Ring? Class change again. You keep skills, your stats are halved, and you start at level 1 again. Yes, that's exactly it. So, I'm pretty sure... What's the one? What's the one where you can get magic out of it? Was it not the Ruby Ring? Oh, sorry, the Wizard's Ring. Sorry, that's the one. So where is the Wizard's Ring in my inventory? Is anyone holding onto a Wizard's Ring? Did I... Yeah, I had it on the one person who probably wouldn't have benefited from it. Just use it. There you go. And then same as well, give that ring over to Biendeo. Hey, I'll just have a bit more, and then in case you need it again. Granted, of course, you reset a high enough level. Also, did I just equip that? No, we're good. Oh. There you go. That is a good question. Ah! Actually, I am curious if I do get a crack at it. Because, I mean, when you think about it, it's like, well... Hold on, like, who needs healing? Okay, just Nyx. I was like, yeah, I forgot to heal. Also, I'm on that floor of the dungeon where you can't heal. Or you can't use magic, which is a bit of pain. So, herbs it is. Herbs it is. Don't worry, we got plenty of herbs for this very special occasion that I can't use. Because remember, we're on that one floor. But yeah, I am curious what happens, so... Anyway, out the gate. Whoa. Well, that's fun. Having the dungeon change on you. Where are we going? Although they seem to have turned off the enemies, so that makes my life a bit easier, doesn't it? Something closed in the sky. Maybe, but... Okay, I'm gonna go nuts here. Maybe both phases were right away, like there's not actually a... No, that has to be a sprite difference, right? Yeah. Yeah, right? Because I'm like... You know where we are. If you obtain a map... Well, excuse me, I don't have a map? Okay. Oh, because I guess I'm here. But, yeah, I'm like, did we just do it? Like, I know I killed Zoma, but I'm like, did we win? Like, fully win? And I'm just, like, not paying attention at all. I'm like, oh yeah, that was it. Because, that cave has put us, somewhere north of... Well, this isn't Aliahan. This is... I mean, he was like, yeah, well done. Isn't it great? We won't have to live with the fear of monsters. Is it true you defeated the Demon King Zoma? Yeah. Wow, that's why the world suddenly became bright. Our ancestors are sent through the giant pit and settled here. I don't know who named this land Alefgard, but I'm sure my ancestors would be delighted that Alefgard is awash in light. It's almost too good to be true. It's just so incredible. It's morning, rise and shine. That's the way a day should start. Wow. Maybe we did do it. Me constantly worrying about, like, oh... you know... my cleric dying all the time, and then it's like, no, I had it. I had it in the bag. We're good. We got there. And also I... burn a bit... a few, there you go, I swear on the stream. No, I burnt a bit of my witch's ring, except it was a wizard's ring. That was such a tongue teaser. Now please, the king awaits you! Ah. Let's go say hi to the king. I mean, if light has come, then I've done it, right? We're all good. The day is saved, right? Never expected this day to come.
Silence all! Biendeo and Trusted Company, I received word, and I've been waiting eagerly ever since. You've won my admiration for defeating the Demon King Zoma. I am simply delighted to see you back. I thank you sincerely. The coming of dawn to our kingdom we owe wholly to your courageous quest. Perhaps because the Demon King is gone, the portal to the other world appears to have closed. But Alefgard will march forward as a world filled with light. All that we owe to you, Biendeo. You are the true hero. To you I confer a legendary title reserved only for the true heroes of our kingdom. You have assumed the title of Lotto. Biendeo, no, I should say Lotto the hero. Your name and your quest will live on forever as the legend of Lotto. So for reference, in the NES version and the SNES version, it was Erdrick, and they condensed it down into that 4-letter name, which doesn't represent Erdrick at all, but Erdrick? Erdick? I think it's Erdrick. With 2 R's. And then we have a dance. There we go. But, yeah, that's the part that, like, cements that it's a prequel. Because, this is the original tale of the land. You're stuck here forever. But, hey, you know, you saved the world, so... There you go. I think that was it. I think we were legit it. I don't know. That was it. And thus, anointed as Lotto, Biendeo became the hero of Alefgard. I might have not hyped it up as much. I might have been like, oh no, there's a second phase. I didn't realize that we were just plugging through. By the end of the celebrations, Biendeo was nowhere to be seen. Her sword and armor. Unless it was just like 2 phases in the middle of a fight, but I was expecting like a visual change, you know? And there's the meme that the end boss of Dragon Quest IV has 7 phases, technically, if you count that. It's not as gnarly, like it's not like 7 really long phases, but... And the legend was born. Yeah, I guess I'll probably, this is not the end of the stream. We've still got a post-game thing to check out, and obviously we're only an hour and a half in the stream. Where you take me for ending streams early? Pff, never. But, I mean, it's gonna hit with credits real soon, isn't it? Yeah. Like, that was it! That was legit it! So, I don't know, I was falling asleep. Didn't even pay attention to the fact that we're chugging through it, so... Killing too many flies with my hands, apparently. Oh, okay, so, end thoughts. I thought I really liked Dragon Quest III a lot more than the other 2 before. I think maybe in hindsight I do like the first game's brevity a lot more, and I think this one has a lot going for it still, but I think maybe the essence of what makes Dragon Quest, you just... Oh, the first form is the Light Orb. Oh, okay. That makes sense. And that also explains how brutal the first form is then. There you go. Okay. Well, in that case, a bit more okay. So, real GG. Although you did do a We Did It and the GG at the time, so I'd say that was... the hype was still there. But yeah, I think in hindsight, I'm like, yeah, the amount of grinding and the extra sort of like, how do you know that you're really ready for a boss fight, or even, you know, I guess, usually a dungeon should prepare you for the boss fight ahead, and not to say, like, it needs to teach you techniques or stuff like that, although it's nice if it does, but it just needs to bring you up to level such that you can sort of competently fight the boss, or at least, like, have a crack at it. And there were maybe, like, 3 or 4 times in the game, and sometimes the final boss is a bit expected in these older RPGs, but particularly, like, the thief, earlier on, the original Orochi fight, they just came at you with a real, like, suddenly very hard boss fight out of nowhere, and you kind of get your butt kicked, and you just need to do, like, some levels. You just need to pump up some numbers. I think I probably should have, yeah, gotten my cleric to change class just to sort of benefit from that. But yeah, isn't that fun? Dragon Warrior 1 and 2 is technically the continuation, so we played the games out of order, which now that probably makes sense why they released the HD 2D remakes in this order, but I don't know, a part of me still feels that, like,
you know how slightly primitive 1 and 2 are. Like, 1 is a very, very straightforward game. It's nice and chill, but it is a very, like, simple game at the end of the day, because you've only got your one party member, you know what I mean? So, Dragon Quest 3, in terms of an evolution of the franchise, I think really hits its stride. I like the idea of having all these classes, and I like the ability to experiment here and there. I don't think my levels carried over, though, which is slightly a bit of a shame, but that's okay. So, yeah, it definitely didn't carry over because, hi, here's all my party dead from the previous save. That's okay, because the only thing I really did was gain some levels. Quite a bunch of nice levels, including some liquid metal slimes, which I'm a little bit miffed, but that's okay. You know, we can gain some levels in any other way. Oh, and I gotta touch the priest who's over here. Was he in this time? He was in here, wasn't he? Yeah. Completely forgotten where the priest was. Oh no, I have completely forgotten where the priest was. Okay, that's fine. That's okay. But yeah, after the game ends, there is a post-game or 2 post-game dungeons. I will not be showing the second one because that is hours of grinding away before it even attempts to appear. But I will have at least a little bit of a crack at the first one. I think that's fair to have a go at it, and we'll see what's going on there. So, teleport to Aliahan. Monster medals, yes, I did get the monster medals. Monster medals are, how would I put it? It's cartridge-wide, so multiple save files can, keep unlocking the medals. There's a specific button to reset them if you really wanted to. So, in theory, you could just keep playing the game again and again. Like, you don't have to, So, yeah, where's the... I think I'm expecting a free lunch. I don't know why. I'm like, oh, where's my revives? But yeah, you can keep, yeah, farming monster medals and stuff, and it's all fine there. But yeah, in order to get a bronze for every single monster medal, and I should actually, as well, hold on, I'm gonna use I'm gonna go back to that person to save, just so I have the ability, or I could actually chat to this person to save as well, sorry. Just so I can show you how many monster medals I have right now. Just to realistically show you how far away I am from unlocking that second dungeon. But we'll have a crack at the first one. So I think you have to go back to the Dragon's Palace. So rest easy, back to the title screen just for a moment. It's a good release though at the end of the day, but I think you do need to be patient with it, and especially with the grinding. But there's a lot of variety in the places that are in this game. Here we go, so check medals. We've gotten a silver medal here. 64 out of 165, so not even half of them. Definitely a solid number of them, but not even half, I think is the easy thing. Most of the time as well, boss fights are part of this, and you know, it's nice that I got Zoma there, but boss fights are part of this, but all the bosses do appear in the next dungeon, so... Also, I did get Barrow bonus, so there is that. And I think you get a location... I don't know why location sometimes shows up. It's nice that they shine a little bit. There you go. It's a nice shine. But yeah, after you get 2 bronze medals, also you can trade them with your friends. So you could give, like, the bronze, and you could be like, yeah, give it to the next person. And then it tells you off that you haven't got a link cable in. So if you want to be that person, and you've got all your monster medals and you want to give them to the next person, you can. But yeah, I think after you get 2 bronze medals, enemies can drop silver medals. And then once you get 2 silver medals, enemies can drop a gold medal. I think there's some other way as well you can get to the silver medal, but it's like, yeah, if you're doing that achievement set for the gold medals, good luck, bro. That's gonna take some perseverance and some willpower right there. And this is coming from a guy who's 100% of the Dragon Quest IX set. There we go. So let's head over to our Russian temple, where everyone's a horse. And by everyone, I mean just the people at the gate. So I think if we go to the very, 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 very north end of this dungeon now... Dungeon? Palace now. Hi. There you go. Stand here, and you'll be teleported into the actual Sky World. They were telling you about it the whole game. It would have been there. And now we've got a bonus dungeon. It's just a bonus dungeon. I will try my best to show off everything in it. And there's still mimics. I'm still getting baited by mimics even to this day. But that's okay. Unless someone dies, in which case then it's not okay. I mean, mimics are not that much a threat anymore, because I deal quite a fair bit of damage, and I've got revive spells on 3 characters, so they can't throw me off too hard. But yeah, in theory, you can still build, like, super characters. You can build characters that, you know, go through the classes, and then they get all these abilities. And then if you ever feel like, oh, you know, I goofed up a character, the easiest thing that you can do is just have a character become a sage. Oh, sorry, have a character start... Get a character start as a jester, put in the effort to level up that character, get him to be a sage, and then you can sort of back out and be any other class, and then it's like you're getting all the abilities. There's not really a huge reason to stay as a mage or a cleric or a sage, except to get more of those spells. I've sort of just kept them there because why not? And the sage isn't that bad as well, but... But yeah, the enemies in here are mostly just the same enemies that we saw before, except there'll be some boss enemies by the end. So that'll be fun. But yeah, for the most part, it's just more dungeon. And there's nothing wrong with more dungeon, is there? Nice heal and flee. Very nice. But yeah, yeah, I don't know. Overall, it's like, yeah, I do wish the game was a bit less on the grindier side. I don't know how the HD remake is, but at the end of the day, I would still say there's a lot of stuff to love in this game. It's got a lot of its charm, it's got a lot of its presentation. I think its open-endedness actually is quite an interesting draw, because there's not any other Dragon Quest game where it's just like, okay, there's 6... yeah, these Dark Trolls are gonna, like, ruin my day. More dungeon is always good. Yeah. Well, no, I don't mind more dungeons. More dungeons is great. I hate not enough gameplay before a boss kicks your butt. That's what I hate. If the game was just, like, easy breezy and padded out the entire length, I would just generally be like, oh, okay, it's a bit of a padded game, but, like... When it's a longish game... Also, these guys are real, like, mean on the health. How much health do these guys have? Oh! That's a bit cruel. Hold on. Yeah, I was like, whoa. Whoa. How much health does that have? Hold on. What's going on there? I've got my list of enemies here. They've got 700 health. Yeah, I should have prepped a bit more for that, because, I think we saw a phoenix earlier. The phoenixes weren't too bad. But yeah, no, there's some other enemies in this, dungeon that we've never seen before. I.e., it's just filled with a bunch of reskins. And it does end in the boss. And the boss is 100% gonna kick my butt. 100%. So I will definitely say that. We're not gonna safely get through this, but the more I show, the better, which I think is okay. So yeah, so I think this evil crab is actually... Oh no, this is just a normal encounter. Pretty sure we've seen all these enemies. Evil crabs have shown up before. Like, if I kill this evil crab now, then yeah, okay. You know it's not that new. Oh no, yeah, sorry, evil crab was new. Sorry. Still killed it, okay, so. A lot of these enemies also give very comfortable amounts of experience. So, in theory, I think your endgame grinding could actually live here. Just because my rate of killing liquid metal slimes wasn't too high, but... Yeah, I'd still, like... How would I put it? As pessimistic as I am, and as anticlimactic as I led the boss fight accidentally, I don't feel like... Yeah, it's not a bad game, and I'd certainly say, you know, grinding is a symptom of games like this, but it doesn't exactly drag down the experience too heavily. You'll get there eventually. I think part of it is maybe a bit of, like, I want to make sure that streams have interesting content, and for quite a number of RPGs now, I've just had times when it's like, okay, I'm just wandering around, I'm wandering back and forth, having the game, you know, like, automatically, you know, have an enemy show up, I kick their butt, and then we move on to the next area, or something like that, and it's like, or like, keep going back and forth until I've arbitrarily hit a level where I go, yeah, now I feel comfortable. Because, when, you know, I want to do some streams where it's like, oh, you know, lots of stuff's happening, and I've got lots of exciting things to talk about in the game, and, yeah, when it's just a grinding stream, I don't know how interesting those are, but I think we also had a lot of fun combos. Stop Killing Games was good fun in the last, the back part of, the streams. So that was always good fun. I don't have any big topics for actual news. For reference, Blub, I talked a lot about just stuff I've been playing this past week, which has been good fun. Yeah, the Subnautica 2, I don't know, I've never played Subnautica, so I can't tell you historically anything, or really a full story. I also don't know too much about this scenario, but all I know is that the original owners of the brand for Subnautica got bought out as the game was in early access, I think for Subnautica 2, or in development. So what came out hasn't actually been, you know, it wasn't exactly, how would I put it? Like, it doesn't exactly have the full sign-off from the original creators. So it was like the creators made as much of the game. Oh, okay. I thought it was out and or was in early access. Maybe, okay. But certainly, if it's not out, it definitely doesn't have the full sign-off from the creators. I don't know how much work they had put into a sequel before they sold it off, but yeah, they did. And apparently, what's the? Hold on, let me get the explicit stuff about what's happening. The big Korean corporation bought the company after one. There we go. Hold on, I'm gonna find a thing on Twitter, which IGN 2 minutes ago posted a tweet about it, so that's good fun. Amid an increasingly bitter row over a $250 million bond. Oh, yes! Yes! The $250 million, yes! They promised the $250 million, and they're basically just, like, bailing out of it. They're like, oh, you're not hitting those conditions, and it's like, bro, we wouldn't have sold it had you, like, made it impossible for that extra $250 million. Which, to me, not to say, like, they shouldn't be happy about the first $250 million. Also, on the flip side as well, like, you are selling your, you know, your intellectual property. It's like, not to say it's par for the course, as in almost any time someone sells their intellectual property, just, it goes down the toilet. And I feel like if you are willing to sell your intellectual property, you need to expect the worst. I think the worst screwing you over out of your own contract is very, like, scummy. And honestly, I do hope that, you know, there's some sort of misunderstanding or something, and it's just like, oh, okay, like, whatever. What people feel is a big corpo made up an excuse to boot the 3 guys at the top of the company, then delayed the game to 2... Yeah, yes, that was the one. So they delayed the game, such that, oh, sales by this date, oh, didn't happen, therefore, whatever. And it's like, it's not even in their hands. And you fired them. Like, how can you expect them to help push the game further when you've done that? I don't know. It seems like legalese. It seems like they've attempted to pull something and they've gone public. Well, yeah, that as well. Like, it seems odd. Like when people say companies are evil, I'm like, okay, well, you know, that's a very broad generalization. Companies are, how would I put it, like, not empathetic as a general statement. But sometimes they are, and sometimes they're absolute, like, jerks about it. They said they ignored working on the game and spent the time... Well, yeah, so if that's the case, then 100% I would go, okay, well, there deserves to be some repercussion. I don't know what the repercussion is, maybe, you know, if they bought the... I love how I'm getting goofed over by crabs again. We're so back, we're getting goofed by crabs. There's like Rags attacks and it's not too strong, and once they cast... Yeah. It's a bit too convenient, yeah. I wish I knew more about the situation such that I could opine more other than general, like, you know, companies be evil kind of sentiments. But I'd definitely say keep an eye on this story because they're playing it out in public. And I think that's a very odd one. Like, the 3 people are trying to, you know, I guess get the goodwill of citizens to effectively exonerate them, because I think this is gonna reflect on them. Oh, yeah, okay, so if they're suing as well, then they're definitely, you know, it's big. They're going for it. This room reminds me of another room in the game. Are we just recycling various rooms from other dungeons and calling it a new dungeon? Surely not. Surely not. Yeah, I wish I had played the first game. I know of a person who's played the game. Yeah, I know, yeah. The worst part as well is that the second dungeon actually is new. And it's also only in the Game Boy Color version. You'll never know what this dungeon is if you ever play the SNES version. Also, I think I think that, that new dungeon also has one of the most insane... Like, you ever... Like, in Pokemon, when you've got the sliding on ice puzzles, it's just insanely long one of those. It's like, oh... So, surely they would not recycle enemies in dungeons for new endgame content. Yeah. Yeah. Like, that's what I mean, is that, like, at the end of the day, and there's other games that I've played and I've not quite shown off everything in the game, because sometimes you just get this. Sometimes you just get, like... There's a lot of, like... I mean, these are the same dragons as well. The crabs were new, the trolls were new. No, these are regular dragons. Regular dragons that you can kill in one hit. And it's fine, but there's only so much I can really show off. Kind of lengthy dungeon as well. I'm actually curious how long it'll be, but yeah, that's always good. But yeah, yeah, that one's definitely a doozy. I'd keep an eye on that, I guess, and I will keep an eye on that. I'll keep tabs on it, make sure I see what's going on.
Donkey Kong Bonanza in 3 days. I'm excited. I don't have a Switch 2, but I maybe soon, maybe because of this. Yeah, literally, you've seen this dungeon before, haven't you? The worst part is that I think the chests are all in the same places as well. Oh my goodness, there's metal slimes in here. As well as also King Hydra. You know, the one I had to fight on the way. On the way. Just casually there, along with a metal slime. That's a bit of a cheeky place, isn't it? This is what I mean by, like, you just start fighting bosses. Oh, that is a doozy of a scenario as well. Because I wanted to cast increase to stop this mini boss from ruining my day. Yeah. Okay, well, in that case, the metal slime is gonna do metal slime things, and, yeah. Maybe he'll stay around because I don't have 4 people attacking him. I do hate the sleep, though, I tell you that. I don't have any other updates from the stop killing game stuff. I know that's sort of like a pertinent issue, but yeah, the stop killing games, the only other thing I found out about it was that the Video Games Europe non-profit had a longer PDF with the sort of statements that they had a blog post, and I don't know how, but there's a link to a PDF that was released at the same time as the blog, and the blog didn't link to a PDF or anything, but it's there, WordPress content, I don't know. And it goes into even more detail about the stop killing games stuff, or rather the stuff they didn't like about it. I have it open. I'm gonna just briefly have it there, but I'm not really gonna go into too much detail on it because it kind of reiterates the same points that they've sort of already mentioned in the blog post, and I sort of rambled about last week, so I don't think it's really too much to gain there. I hope Rags doesn't die right now, because this would be painful. The fact that Air's been asleep for how many turns? Yeah, jeez. There we go. Had to copper death right there. Also, did the dragon attempt to attack the corpse? Yeah. Gosh, this crab is actually the worst as well. Lingering in the fight. Let's... Oh my gosh. Yeah, let's cast Vivify. Get that Sage Rock out and try to get rid of this crab. Oh, okay. But I will say that this PDF does bring up a couple of points which frustrate me even more than I probably sounded last week about the topic. And I'll go over a couple of those. So they initially state that, you know, or use the exact same wording that they did in the blog post, which was that, you know, the right to decide how, when, and how long to make a video game service available to players is vital in justifying the costs. You know, like that kind of stuff. Video game companies must remain free to decide when an online game is no longer commercially viable and to end continued service support. It's like, I'm not against that, and I think, like, there's something a bit disingenuous about, like, okay, like, everyone sort of... Did I just use Vivify again and I don't need to? Okay. Yeah, whoops. Think about it, I'm spending this long on, like, a random fight in here. It's the famed straw man. Yeah, they're sort of taking, like, the worst kind of angle, or, like, the most, like, kind of lukewarm Twitter take, and then thinking that that's actually the explanation for the movement. Like, I saw some tweets of, like, people who might legitimately be, like, you know, like, asking questions, and they're just like,
you know, why are you guys, like, so big on, like, you know, like, you know, game companies supporting, you know, like, games existing forever, you know, like, why not, or like, game studios supporting online games in perpetuity. Why not just, like, release server binaries? And it's just like, yeah, like, hold on, wait. Where did you get the idea that people wanted them to support it in perpetuity? The whole point was, like, the ultimate aim is that people want to be able to play their games for as long as, you know, time forbids. They bought a game, they should be able to play that game forever, in the same way that it always has been. And so, allowing the ability to not need another person hosting a server, or to be able to do it yourself, is a solution. It's not necessarily the solution, but it's a solution. And certainly, anything that can be done to change the scene to point towards a direction where that can be the case is the goal. Is it hard legislature? It's not even legislature, but that's the goal. And the fact that, like, you see some people who are just like, oh, like, what do you mean, like, you want, like, you know, game companies to, like, not use proprietary tech? A part of me wants that. A part of me is like, they gotta stop doing, using all this technology that can't be, you know, reused effectively. Making software disposable. That's such a pessimistic view of, like, their work. It's like, I would be disheartened as well. They're like, oh, you know, you're making it worse for game devs, and this document actually says that as well. And it's like, bro, I don't want it worse for game devs. I want them to have their work cherished forever. That's the goal. That should be good for a heal on the next, next battle. But yeah, oh boy, that, like, having to fight that dragon again is like, ugh. Good thing I don't have to... Oh, okay. We're good, we're good. I didn't get another fight like that. These are all, previous dungeon enemies, so we're good there. But the PDF goes into more detail, and it says why an obligation on video game companies to provide only a limited type of end-of-life plan is disproportionate. So, they've provided an argument here now. They've actually made a case, and they haven't just said some broad statements and briefly mentioned that data protection is, like, game companies' strong suits, and that, like, people don't know what they're doing. You know what like, it's not that bad, but they've listed a bunch of stuff. So first of all, they did say that as point number one, because they are just expanding upon the same points. But they said reduced or no player protection, you know, requiring games to run on private servers would result in the inability for game companies to continue to protect players from illegal or harmful content or conduct, as their moderation and player safety teams would no longer be involved. Now, that's the official game company, like, moderation teams are not involved. This is almost about to be a death, by the way. Well, there's a death there, but I just want to say that, like, what's the one? It's, numb off. Yeah, I'm gonna need numb off to happen. Because otherwise, if everyone's paralyzed or dead, you know, it's all over. We have to treat these arguments like it's legitimate. Well, yeah, and very cynically as well, you know, if some people are using sock puppet accounts to effectively swing the public opinion, you know what I mean? Like, kind of push for some misinformation, some exaggerated truths here and there. Yeah, that ain't on. And also, like, come on, guys, what's happening there? But that's a huge problem with social media in general. But that's why, you know, you have to take all these arguments with, like, what is everyone saying, and what is the best, like, ideas and opinions out of all of them. Holy crap, by the way. Oh, come on! That was cruel. That was absolutely cruel. Yeah. I'll keep taking cracks at it, but ultimately, by the end of the stream, you know, like, if we get to the end and it's like, oh, I didn't even reach the end, I'll describe what's happening there. Isn't that weird? I got killed by those guys, as opposed to anything else, and it's just because they got their paralysis. going real hard. Actually, hold on. Are those Skyward enemies? Oh, they are Skyward enemies. I take it back. They were Skyward enemies. Still, that was kind of brutal. That was real brutal right there. That's exactly, by the way, that's what happened at the end of Shining Force 2. Is that there's a extra... I'm not hitting the button right. There's an extra battle after the credits, and you basically have to do a fight against all the bosses, like, in the same battle. And one of the bosses has the ability to effectively cast, like, insta-death on a character, and he just casually walks up to main character, casts insta-death, and I'm dead, and that was it. And I'm like, oh, that's so savage. It's so brutal. But, oh well. But yeah, so they mentioned that. That's sort of the same point that they had before, where it's like, without the official moderation teams, players will be at risk. Which I'm like, that argument relies on a big assumption that your moderation team is the best and that community moderation teams are so terrible. And not to say that, like, there's no incentive. You know, the incentive structure is there, but that's not necessarily true. And there's various examples of games, including by the companies listed, where it's like, yeah, nah, your community people, like, completely dropped the ball at times, and, yeah, the player protection wasn't really there. Also, I love point number 2 here, so they put 10 points. Point number 2, increased security risks. Releasing game code or server binaries to facilitate the creation of private servers operated by players could expose game companies and consumers to bad actors, malware, data breaches, and DDoS attacks. Now, my mom called me earlier today to tell her, she was like, oh, I had a wonderful person from Telstra tell me that my IP address has been, you know, like, compromised, and I need to, you know, confirm that, you know, this person who they're talking to is really, like, them. And then my mom obviously went, yeah, and I'm not with Telstra, so obviously I knew that this was from the recent Qantas database leak, which casually put people's names, date of births, I guess, house addresses sometimes, some personal information, flights they've been on, sometimes their active balance of frequent flyer point. Like, there was a real gnarly leak of, like, I think they said 5 million? Which doesn't seem like a crazy high amount, but, like, 5 million Australians, like, that's, like, 20% of the country. And obviously, like, kids and, you know, aren't gonna have frequent flyer accounts. It was a very gnarly database leak. Now, granted, they're not a gaming company, but I'm still dealing with the Epic Games data leak from 8 years ago. Activision recently, Call of Duty World War II in particular, people found out that there's remote code exploitation where you can literally start invoking PowerShell scripts on people's computers out of the blue. Titanfall 2 by EA is a classic example, both Titanfall 1 and 2 actually, but particularly Titanfall 2, where, again, remote code execution, people can just run random stuff. Oh, it's there in Black Ops 3 as well? Okay, well, there you go. Multiple games from Activision there. And it's still there. It's been a couple of weeks, at least, people really making a stink of it. But also, the game has clearly been out for longer, and who knows how long that's been kind of floating in the wild. DDoS attacks also, like, DDoS attacks, as rough as they sound, it's a bit of a who cares kind of argument. Like, people can get DDoSed for a lot of things, including the biggest companies can get DDoSed. Like, you know, where have we never seen a big company get DDoSed before? You have a specific mod on PC did not have people online that, yeah. But Titanfall 2 was the same thing, and if anything, Titanfall 2, ironically, has been renewed because of the community being able to patch out the cheaters themselves, as opposed to official game support. Oh, Dark Souls as well. Dark Souls was also one that had that happen. Goldman! But at least with Dark Souls, they actively did take down the game, and then, actually, no, sorry, I take it, well, they did take down the game. They then proceeded to say, well, we fixed it for Dark Souls 3, but Dark Souls 1 and 2 are, whatever, they're foobar. We're not helping you there. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. So, my version of Dark Souls 1, ended up being superseded by Dark Souls Remastered, and I have no online support in my Dark Souls 1 anymore, which is a bit of a shame. I wouldn't exactly count it under the whole Stop Killing Games initiative, but it's definitely one where it's like, man, you know, if only there was the capability to fix this myself. It's not really there, unfortunately, so... But yeah, DDoS attacks is a bit of a who cares kind of thing, because it's like, why, like, you know, people shouldn't be DDoSing, first of all, because, I don't know, it's just kind of rude. But it's like, literally spamming users is not the end of the world for anything, and it's not a security risk. It's an infrastructure risk. It's like, my computer, you know, my server will panic, the CPU will be high, and I won't serve real customers. It's not a security risk. Adding in that section is just like, hey, what are you doing there? Okay, so then they go impact on companies, and they go significant engineering and architectural challenges, and we've already talked about how, yes, it is more work. Is it prohibitively more work? I would argue no. They use the term prohibitive in there. But it's more work, and certainly I get that companies would push back on it. That's it. That's all I'd say there. 4. Negative impact on investment in games, jobs, growth, and consumer choice. This one is like, oh my gosh, put on the tinfoil right here. Because, like, huh? Okay. Ensuring an online game can work without official server support requires a significant investment of engineering resources, making it a very costly exercise for video game companies. Many of the costs that game companies would incur in implementing an end-of-life plan would have to be incurred towards the end of the commercial life of the game, when it is no longer commercially viable to continue support. Sort of the same as what they said before. Requirements to implement such plans could lead to less risk-taking, fewer investment projects in developing new games, and potentially fewer jobs. Ultimately, it could lead to increased costs for consumers and less choice. Now, yeah, less risk-taking. Like, and not to say that, like, what they mean is that by reducing the options companies can take, by reducing the options companies can take, they will be less likely to take risks. This is Barra Evil, by the way. It's is Barra Evil. This one's gonna be a bit of a doozy because there's two of them, so I might be in a bit of jeopardy. We'll see how this goes. I assume they're probably gonna hit hard, so we'll drop an increase and we'll hope for the best. Post-game dungeon do be kicking. Yeah, exactly. The worst part as well is that, like, I'm pretty sure they've got most of what made the Barabomus, you know, what he is, but ever so slightly less health. But then it's like, well, there's two of them. That's a bit cruel. You got two of them going on here. So we'll see how well we go. Hopefully. Just a bit of grunt will get through it. Only one action per turn. That is true. Instead of 3. That was a fair bit of damage, wasn't it? Oh, no. That was 2. Just then. He used the stone. Well, he only had 1, so... Not too sure what was going on there, but... Yeah, this is a bit mean. If only I had a second Sage Rock. Some later Dragon Quest actually let you have 2 of them. Which does give you a very interesting party dynamic where you're constantly, like, deciding on whether your 4th wheel has to keep healing. Come on, get rid of this guy. Oh my gosh. Okay. We need to properly
properly heal against this. I was like, oh, do I do a heal us? Because it does use a lot of magic, but then I'm like, yeah, nah. I'm gonna need it, definitely. But yeah, this whole, like, losing jobs, I'm like, losing jobs in general after less investment, I get that, but, like, what do you mean less risk-taking? They're making this assumption that without being able to make games in the way that they are, they actually would make how would I put it? They think they're going to make, you know, sell the game to fewer people. I think if you had to read between the lines, what they're really saying is that they think they're going to make less money. They claim that. Yeah, it's all a claim. It's all a claim. But like, at the end of the day, it's like making money and selling the game to as many people as possible are not directly proportional, because they are really trying to gouge as much money per person. The ones who know, yeah, exactly. They know more than I do. There's a lot of, you know, I guess, extrapolation I'm pulling off here, but certainly, like, I mean, their goal is profits. It's always the case, and that's fine. Investors, yeah. Well, some investors have no idea. Investors certainly are seeking the profits, and they're seeking good directions and KPIs and all that stuff. So, number of sales is always, hopefully, an increasing number, but you can always twist it around. You can always say, hey, this made the case for that, or something like that. I again keep citing that Sega slide deck that I read out loud, because it was there and visible, but it was like, the big thing that they said was like, oh, various free-to-play games were actually floundering, and like, existing titles that they had previously released were still going, so they, you know, said, hey, you know, we're very confident that for investors, the best way forward is to release more, I guess, stay-home single-player games. Like, you know, games that people will refer to for years and years and keep earning in lots and lots of money. Which I think is fair, and I think there's lots of companies that are going to have lots of different strategies on how to, you know, approach, you know, sales and all that stuff in the future, and that's fine for them to, you know, to come up with strategies for that. The bit that is, you know, that we're trying to push back on is like this idea of your game. And I guess this is the thing. Did the crew make, like, tons of money? It made enough that they went for a sequel and all that, but, like, did it actually, like, employ the strategies that maybe we criticize when it comes to risk-taking? Or is it more like, you know, is Darkspore a risk all of a sudden because it has an always online server? Keep that in mind. I have a point on that in a bit, but we'll get there. We'll get there. We'll definitely get there. 5. Reputational harm. Allowing players to run private servers with online interaction possibilities could result in players using those games in ways that don't align with the game company's brand values, leading to a negative association with the brand, thereby harming its reputation. I would like to say, citation needed. Show me any example of any existing game that has apparently given reputational harm because of its community servers. Name one. I can cite a lot of examples of it helping the game. If only there was some ulterior motive to always having your game be online. Wink, wink. We'll get there. I want to see if you can think of it before I get to the end of this, and then go, did they mention it at all? Let's... Oh. I do not want to fight these crabs, but I feel like running away too much. I don't know, actually, if running away now makes running away harder later. These crabs are mean when there's 3 of them, though, I'll tell ya. Because the defense is crazy. 6. Erosion of intellectual property rights. Also, hold on, where am I going? Yeah, actually, where am I going? Hold on. Down? Yeah. Mandating game companies to get... I'm going to Runaway City right now. I want to just show off the rest of the dungeon, man. I think it's honestly easier to run away from fights and constantly, like, just
top up your health every so often, because I've got tons of healing ability. See, at least this is a fire. I can be like, yeah, no, easy. Easy gang. But yeah, so, erosion of intellectual property rights, mandating game companies to keep their online games operable post-official support would undermine their rights and autonomy in deciding how their intellectual property is utilized. There is a vital interest in maintaining effective copyright protection, including protection against circumvention of technologies that control access to copyrighted video game software, where such circumvention is undertaken in circumstances that would lead to the unauthorized public exploitation of games. This one almost hits that point, by the way. The one that I thought they would kind of get there, but they didn't quite mention it. They're particularly talking about how the intellectual property is, you know, can't be protected because when they release a game, they have to address the public's, like, sentiment around a game. Also, this doesn't even say anything about selling a game in perpetuity. It's just about, like, the people who it was sold to. That's all it is. It's very odd. 7. Competition from community-supported versions. Such a requirement could lead to community-supported versions of games competing with official versions, potentially jeopardizing the financial investments of the video game companies. This would lead to confusion between trademarks, and the original trademark holder may be held responsible for actions undertaken by a community-supported version. 1. Citation needed. 2. As well. Why are you feeling like you're at risk? I guess there's ones like WoW Classic, but I think the point stands of, hey, if the community is doing it better than you, there is something to consider about how you operate your business that people would be very willing to try to give money to some other person who's making a community server. They're still putting in work. They're still putting in architecture and infrastructure to make a community server, and in some cases, even a lot of effort reverse engineering your work that that you're not exposing out to the world. Hopefully you can allow the community to flourish and kind of, benefit from, hey, I'm interested in your game enough that I want to expand upon it and I want to add some stuff of my own or that kind of stuff. I feel like lots of game companies not endorsing it, not like saying, hey, this, completely fan mod, it's not like, say, ZeniMax supports every single mod of Skyrim out there, you know what I mean? It's like, there's obviously tons of mods that probably would be against, like, their company values. But at the end of the day, it's like, they expose the ability for people to do whatever in their game. That's the point. That's I don't know, so, I don't get this whole, like, competition from community supported. If they're, like, first of all, just put in a license where it's like, hey, you can't, like, make money with our game. And there's a lot of game companies that make money off, like, Minecraft branding as well, which I think is interesting. It's like, oh, they, like, if anything as well, Minecraft is, like, a forever game. People can host servers and all that, That game's gonna last forever. Unless, centralized Minecraft servers go down, and since it queries, skins, you might need to do a DNS swap. But, like, that's it. They're worried about people not buying the new games. Yes, but they didn't they didn't explicitly say that. One, because that's obviously not a popular thing, and they're trying to avoid the unpopular opinions, other than the one part where they said it's disappointing for game servers to go down. Yeah, they must not say that, because, yeah, there's a lot of, like, and it's weird as well, because this isn't even from one company in particular, although I'm actually not too sure if they say something in this that's incriminating in some, not legal way, but, like, I guess can be used in court as, like, this is the motive of these companies. They say this, and they actually do this. Exactly. Well, yeah, they can't make it seem like planned obsolescence. They can't take what do you mean they can't take risks anymore? I thought they liked taking risks. Yeah. No, I jest. Let's see. Yeah, there's a chest here. It's got a Gaia sword. Yeah, everyone likes some post-game weapons. So the Gaia sword, hold on, where is it? Here it is. You know, it's not a post-game weapon, actually. I'm pretty sure we found it already. I don't think there's actually any... Oh, boy, yeah, nah. Yeah, nah. I'm not dealing with that. So yeah, number 8, forfeiture of licensing and reproduction rights. Allowing consumers to create or run modified copies of online games would necessitate games companies to either license additional rights or refrain from enforcing them, effectively leading to a forfeiture of control over these rights. I think they're specifically referring to, also this is a fun flaw. I think oh boy, what is the way to go? I think we just go right and then up. Easy enemies now, so that's okay. But I think what they're referring to is, effectively, like, any licensed software as part of their server software. Is that, oh, well, they would need to, you know, get additional rights out of it, or not enforce I'm not too sure about the enforcing rights. I'm not too sure what's the specific terminology with that one. Leading to a forfeiture, though, like, at the end of the day, and they say this is like, how to put it, allowing consumers to create or run modified copies of online games. What do you mean running copies of, modified copies of online games? We do that all the time. What do you mean? I think they explicitly forbid it in various end-user license agreements, but other than like trying to detect it or with cheat protection, which I guess, are they referring to cheat protection? Or are they referring to the P word? Despite being a servant of the gods, I made a grievous error. That is why I'm purifying myself. Check it out! There's a save point, or not a save point, there's a revive point up here. If only it was a save point. Isn't that a bit odd? I wish it was a save point. The dungeon that never ends. Yeah, we should be good going down here and then back around. Devil Mage. I think this is yet another new enemy. The Devil Mage. Yes, it is. I don't think they've got a ton of health, but I do worry that they're gonna cast a spell on me. I love kernel level. Yeah, kernel level anti-cheat is one of the most egregious things in the world because we literally have, like, legal precedent against it. Sony already lost a lawsuit back in 2001 or 2002 over this on CDs. Like, they tried installing kernel level monitoring software to ensure that you were using your CDs properly, and it ended up bricking a bunch of people's computers, and they class action lost that one. And I'm not too sure if it exactly is against... I guess that's a damages thing, but, like, the point is like, hey, isn't the practice kind of shady for people to be running software that you don't actually, like, you know, want it to be running? I buy a game, I want to run the game. If I, you know, like, I guess anti-cheat is part of it, you know, it's part of the software, you have to run it, I guess. But, like, the point stands, it's like, at some point, I think we should say, does this piece of software, should it realistically be running at the lowest level of security on your computer? And I feel like for the most part, I think a lot of people will probably point to, it's a piece of entertainment media, what do you mean? And the worst part is that, you know, like, not to say Valve anti-cheat is perfect, but Valve anti-cheat ain't kernel level 0. It's not ring 0, it's... Also, check this out, Metal Wyvern, oh... I don't think I need to worry about these other guys, but keep it in mind. I think the Metal Wyvern... I'm not sure if he attacks twice, or he reflects. We'll see. We'll see in a moment. Or he'll just be an absolute pain, so... Number 9. Constraints from third-party IP. Game companies often utilize third-party software and services which may have licensing terms which... Okay, so that basically the, you know... that point I said. Although they do say, in particular, this could jeopardize and infringe the copyright of the musical works? The musical works? and lead to legal action from his rights holder. I don't know why they mentioned musical works. Lastly, 10th point, constraints from third-party services. Games depend on third-party services and so on. So this is explicitly the same thing as well. They use third-party code. It infringes the licensing to allow that. I am currently copying a lot of hits right now. Well, yeah, remember any GTA, really. I'm gonna run away from this fight. I'm not comfortable about this one. I think they're about to cop it. Oh, I think we're good. Yeah, we're good. Okay. All the GTAs have been like this, including GTA 5. Actually, no. I think GTA 5 they did... I'm not sure if GTA 5 has actually had music removed. I can't recall. But certainly every other one. Every other one of them has had their music removed. Vice City, yeah, San Andreas 4, all the episodes. Yeah, cheeky little tiny metal down here as well. Also, they say all the above would affect compliance with PEGI ratings, where a game has a PEGI age rating and offers multiplayer functionality. This encounter again, I'm not dealing with it. The game company is contractually bound by the PEGI Code of Conduct to respect various obligations related to online safety and privacy. The inability to do so would expose the games company to legal uncertainty with respect to its contractual obligations under the PEGI Code of Conduct. So, just for note, that game companies have effectively twisted, assuming that, you know, we can generalize multiple game companies into this kind of sentiment, but they have twisted the idea of also, this is that all heal from, like, one of the early dungeons. Except now I have to deal with this happening every time I try to walk up to it. So am I really safe? Probably not, but, like, the whole point of the PEGI rating, or really any kind of age rating, is to effectively guide, you know, particularly parents, into purchasing games that are appropriate for the age of their children. Online interactions certainly give a very, very nebulous void of what is supported for that game. And certainly, if you, the publisher, are permitting a first-party support to allow people to connect to each other, then you do want to control for that certain age rating or whatever that you're aiming for there. If your game is not... how would I put it? Like, I don't get how suddenly decades of precedence of previous online interactions and various games that allow you to... I'm gonna absolutely run away from every single one of these fights at this rate. Unless I just get incredibly caught out by these guys. I just want to fight with, like, real normal enemies. Everyone is mean to me. More tiny metals. Oh my gosh. But, like, I don't understand why they're suddenly saying, oh, if we let people connect to each other... I think this is a cursed shield as well, so... that's fun. But it's like, if we let people connect to each other, then all of our games will be, like, 18+. So I'm like, you know what's, like, not 18+? Windows that comes with a web browser that lets you then visit explicit websites if you know, like, locations. But you don't have to go to those locations. And obviously Microsoft doesn't support every single web browser you can access. You know, like, I don't get the precedent out of this. That is entirely fear-mongering. I don't get it, but... anyway, so at the end of those points, also, they use at the end as well. So, okay, so the, you know, consumer protection laws are important. Players, you know, are always given prior notice, which I always hate, because it's like, I don't care about prior notice, first of all, because the notice time isn't very appropriate, especially for people who very recently bought the game. It's very obnoxious to pull away, like when you say, oh, you know, the game's been out for 10 years, and we announced that we'd shut it down in 3 months, and we did. And I'm like, hey, you know what, like, someone could do? Buy the game the day before you announce that. I know they could get a refund. Buy the game 2 weeks before you announce that. You can, or the notice goes out and you can still buy it. Oh, that as well. Yeah. Some of these games as well, it's not locked down quite at the right time, so that's always fun. I think as well... Yeah, there's a strength seed and another one here. Yeah. I should have used these acorns and stuff, didn't I? Someone's gonna probably grow on me, the fact that I've been picking up all these seeds and I never ever use them. You remember this dungeon? This dead guy? He's still just a corpse. He's still there. And there's a slime in here. Oh, I wish my turn would come. You're entering a match too? Yeah. Good luck. I feel like that's like from something earlier. Can't recall when. But I think this is like meant to be the downstairs of one of the monster fighting. Oh, it is. It is. You look tasty. Well, we might as well fight him because he's one guy. And he was right here, you know? He was chilling right for us. But yeah, so they mentioned that reimbursement as well with price reduction and reimbursement rights. The crew was full price the day they announced the notice. Maybe not full price, $60 US game. But it was 55 Australian, which means that they had used one like price discount. Now they had, I got it in the last sale they had before, which was 3 months before that. But like again, it's like that doesn't justify anything. Service duration as well. It'd be disproportionate for a specific duration to be imposed, as this would need to be valid for all types of services, not just games. I get that point, but then it's like whatever. And then fair terms, you know. The Unfair Terms Directive prohibits game companies from imposing terms on consumers that significantly imbalance the parties' rights and obligations to the detriment of consumers. This is, I think, a fair statement, but I think the deeper point of it is that it is against consumers. This is the whole point of the initiative. It is against consumers, and it hasn't been in their best interests to fund games that ultimately get taken out of their libraries within 3 months. Or a year, or all this stuff. There's tons of games where it's like, oh, that's the case. And then last point, they mentioned the preservation and cultural values, and they literally, like, cite that, oh, you know, we regularly preserve our games. For example, Electronic Arts recently supported a use of Battlefield 1 in a World War I exhibition in Notre Dame de Lorette in Souchez, France, 2 years ago. Like, wowee. That's not, like... I mean, I do wish game companies personally preserve their games, had source code protected, and then eventually when fair use and all that stuff drop out, they can release that. I do feel like... Sorry, not fair use. Public domain kicks in. But I do wish that it wasn't as obnoxiously long as it is, because especially for software, it's like... all this stuff, it lasts forever. Seriously, 70 years in software is like before computers existed. Still, it's like nothing in software is public domain. I guess cinema is sort of the same kind of deal, but films have often had re-releases and reproductions. There's a lot of ability to reproduce media, and they've kept that as a very big effort to keep going for movies and stuff. It's like, always keep the, you know, that movie in print or something like that. This is a dead end. We hit a dead end. Oh, wait, no, sorry. We need to leave through the door. You can go back to the lower world from here. Leap down if you wish to go back. I rule the castle. Oh my gosh, it's actually a castle. But you're not going to save for me. You're not going to let me save. So, okay. So, to explain exactly what happens eventually, the fact that you're here, you can be confident in your physical strength. However, that says nothing of your intelligence. A town in ruins. What glitters beneath the cross? Can you solve this riddle? If you do, come back to see me. You must have come back from the world. Okay. Yep. Okay, I got it. So, effectively, I think this guy will go, oh, going on. Do take care. I'm probably going to die. We'll see what happens. There's still a bit more dungeon as well. There's actually some unique dungeon still going on. take a drink of the potion in the cauldron. It's very hot. Yikes, it's hot. And it burns your mouth. Hot, wasn't it? Yeah, thanks, bro. So out the door, yeah, we got more dungeons still, and, yeah, it keeps going on. But fortunately, it is easy to fall off. Easy to fall off. I'll call it there. There's still more. Dang, that's kind of annoying. That's really annoying. I know. I was expecting a wall, man. I don't know. That's so annoying that it's like full off as well, and you gotta go through like what, like 6 other rooms in order to get there. Ugh. Well, I'll wrap it up. Anyway, so what's at the top is that there's a dragon. It's literally the same sprite as every other dragon we've, or maybe not the regular dragon, but like the swirly kind of dragon. He's called Divine Nagon. It's just short for Divine Dragon. And he is a super boss. I 100% will get my butt kicked by that super boss. Also, there are riddles. Actually, I think we have to do the riddles. Anyways, so if anything, I had to jump off anyways. So, I mean, we might as well, I guess, wander to one place for a riddle. Do I have a walk that I can use? No? Well, in that case, we're just gonna wander there. That's fine. We'll just wander there. So the place with the cross that he's referring to is all the way down. There we go. Hold on. Not quite there. Oh, where is it? Still south. All the way to Tadanki. But unfortunately, I don't think I can show off the rest, because he's not gonna, you know, I gotta wander all the way back up there just to ask him for another riddle. Because he's got 3 riddles as well. So if we go back here, and particularly in here, there's a big cross. And there, you'll find some beast claws, which are actually kind of strong claws. So you get that. But yeah, you've got to go all the way back up and talk to him, and then the next item is visible, I guess. Looking at the page, he's going to ask for you, a town surrounded by darkness, something sleeps in the flowers. And so, there's multiple towns with flowers. Apparently one of them, Mercado, go to the middle building, search on the second flower from the top for a dark outfit, okay. And then the third riddle, find the one who looks at the stars without ever glancing down. You have to go to Luzami and go to the telescope, and you get a sage stone. Another sage stone, very nice. There you go. And then, yeah, you're meant to climb the tower. Anyways, you fight the boss. The boss is going to kick your butt real hard, because Zoma had 4,200 health. He has 7,300 health. He has a bajillion health. He kicks your butt real hard. If you beat him in 35 turns, then he grants you a wish. If you beat him again, you need to beat him in 25 turns. And if you beat him every time after that, you need to beat him in 15 turns. So even if I can beat him 35 turns, might be possible. It might be possible, but like, it's a bit of a stretch. And what is the wish? You get 5 choices of wishes. You can, so wish number 1 in the list is you can make a new Pachisi track. You can make the little, like, the board game things. There's an exclusive one that's only available if you grant the wish for it. And some people I see sort of encouraged for that because there's actually some really nice exclusive loot. Or rather, yeah, actually there's nice exclusive loot through that. So it's like, oh, it's pretty good. Number 2 is you can actually revive your dad, which is nice. You get a nice happy ending out of it. Except for me, I'm not getting the happy ending. Only there for story, but it's nice that you can do that. Number 3 is you get a naughty book. You know, naughty book. I'm not too sure if that's a class conversion item, so I'll just say that. Oh, here you go. Changes your personality to lewd if you're a man or sexy as a woman. Yeah, okay, sure. And then, so here's the nice thing, is that the monster medals, wish number 4 actually gets you, a set of all, all the rare medals, all the boss medals, which is quite nice. I'm not too sure of the specifics, but it does help you along with getting golds of everything. I'm not too sure actually what exactly you get out of that, but I think it helps. And number 5 is unlocking the ice cave, or at least the entrance to it. So when you stand on exactly where the egg was in the dragon place, actually, is it in there? I think so. Then it teleports you to the ice cave, and then the ice cave immediately tells you don't have all the bronze medals and you can't go through it. You get a choice of one of those for 35 turns, and then afterwards it's like you've got to beat this boss quicker and quicker and quicker, which means grinding to really high levels and getting lots and lots of seeds. So, if you're a completionist, good luck on this one. If you're like me, you'll probably wrap it up here. So, I think the best thing is we'll probably just say that's kind of it. I mean, for the most part, that was most of the whole game. It's obviously like, you know, JRPG super boss kind of stuff. There's obviously going to be grinding and other kinds of extra things hiding in lots of these games, including Dark Cloud, by the way. Yes, one of the wishes is just to open the second post-game dungeon it's to reveal it, and then it opens once you've got the monster medals. So, in theory, you only need to beat the boss once in order to unlock the dungeon, but you'd be putting on all the effort. Also, you can redo that monster medal collection multiple times, so I guess once you're good enough that you can fight this dragon within 15 turns, you know, it'll probably be a sweep. Respecking some characters as well, and then getting them back up to 99 probably will really help as well with, yeah. No, more than 5 times. You gotta do the monster medals multiple times. And also, you don't need to revive your dad. Or get the lewd book. And technically, the Pachisi track isn't even necessary. Like, if you really want to go straight for the dungeon, you just focus on those ones, but probably want the Pachisi track for the rewards. But yeah, other than that, I mean, you know, more to the viewer to see if I get the time to put in for that one. True, yeah, but dad. Yeah. Oh, and also the ice dungeon has an even bigger boss at the end. He's got 10,000 health. For victory over him, he gives you the Rubus sword, which is a very strong sword. It casts Thordane as well, which is the all enemy lightning, which is very, very nice to have. And then again, if you beat him in under 25 rounds all the time afterwards, he'll give you medals as well. Same thing as the dragon. So you don't have to beat him as quickly, but he's also a harder boss fight. So I don't know if it really, you know, plays out nicer. But that's it. That's Dragon Quest 3. Every single stream, I ran very close to the 3-hour mark, and I'm looking forward to doing some slightly more eventful, but also more condensed streams. So I'd like to thank you very, very much for... let me bring back the audio for a moment. Do you... Just to finish up about the Stop Killing Games thing, they didn't mention piracy or anti-piracy at all in this document, which is sort of the cynical reason why I think they actually do this always online stuff in places where it was not necessary at all. SimCity 2013, Starkspore, arguably The Crew as well, like, because there's tons of games that, like, work single player, oh, servers aren't up, That's okay. You just won't get online functionality. You know what I mean? Like, they're not going to explicitly mention the crew because this is a multiple video game company statement, not just Ubisoft. But I would really love for Ubisoft in particular to explain why the crew had an online dependency where Forza doesn't. Just saying that. And I feel like anti-piracy is the underlying reason. And not to say anti-piracy is, you know, like, not a valiant effort, but certainly an obvious effort to increase sales by effectively trying to drive away piracy. While I do understand why they do that, at the cost of forcing people to have to re-buy games. Or basically saying that their licenses expire, and now them engaging in efforts to bring back their games counts as a piracy, counts as a circumvention method. It's illegal according to the Digital Millennium Copyrights Act, Section 1201. It's, I don't know. It boils me. At the end of the day, they haven't exactly said anything too new here, but it's more now that I've read the longer statement, the omissions start to come out a bit more. What are the points that they are really trying to avoid right now? Because I think that is the case. If you're gonna, like, start getting them in terms of, like, hey, why do I not trust these companies, to the point that I might not even buy a Ubisoft game ever in the future. Hey, you know, Ubisoft, if you change your ways or whatever, I'd be fine. But legit, I do not trust buying The Crew 2, because even though you say, oh, don't, you know, are you sad about The Crew 1 disappearing? Just buy The Crew 2. I don't even care that it's like, you know, you could get for $15 on sale, Australian. It's like, you're going to do this again. You have, like, you've said, oh, you know, we'll continue to support. For how long? I got no clue. We're gonna hit 2027, that game might disappear, and it's like, oh, cool. It's not even the same game as well. I remember seeing people saying it's worse. I saw people saying The Crew Motorfest was better. Maybe not better than the first one, but at least better than the second one. It's not replaceable, exactly. Exactly. Like, that's what I mean by, like, games are disposable to them. Why should I give you money if you treat games as disposable medium? You know? I get that you want to continually make money. You know what's the easiest way to continually make money? Just supporting your game over and over. Or just selling it in perpetuity. Not dealing with licenses that forces your game to only exist for so long. Because then you tie yourself into this knot of like, oh, well, we can't because otherwise then, you know, developers have less choice. Hey, you know what's a good option? The one that helps most people. Except for the developers who are, sorry, except for the studios that are basically like, pump out the game quick and forget about it. Drop the support as soon as it stops being profitable. Who cares about the end consumers who buy this expecting it to be like every other video game on the market? Boggles my mind that, like, well, no, it doesn't boggle my mind. I'm starting to think that, you know, they're intentionally not referring to any of this. And, yeah, I don't know. If you're a game company and you legitimately, like, don't see anything wrong with this, I don't know. A part of me is like, I don't know. People shouldn't be buying your games then. And that's a harsh statement. That's like it's a very untrustworthy thing. It's like, oh, you know, what's the phrase? If, buying isn't owning, then piracy isn't theft. Not to encourage that, but yeah, like, people are going to revolt against this kind of stuff if they continue doing it, and hopefully making a legal precedent, or at least you know, a very vocal thing. Ubisoft should get used to people not buying their game. Well, yeah, I do worry about that. They're not even on the up. They should be the first ones going, hey, you know what? Like, let's take some, like, they should be the ones taking fewer risks. I don't get it. I don't get it. Just, like, release a straightforward game. Just release a Rayman game. Release that Beyond Good and Evil 2. Just finish it up, guys. Just, I don't care what on earth you're doing behind the scenes. That game's been in development for, what, 18 years now? Jeez. So, alright, I'll wrap it up there. But yeah, no, thank you so much for watching. Dragon Quest 3, it's been good. It's been good. Beat the game at the very least, so we got there. If you enjoyed this, or you didn't enjoy it, I'm very tired. You know, follow on Twitch, whatever. I stream 8:30 PM Australian Eastern Standard Time every Monday, so that's just the best part as well is that I'm gonna play Mirror's Edge 2 next week. So my thoughts on modern games are gonna suddenly kick in real hard on that one. That'll be fun. VODs will always be on YouTube real soon as well. And yeah, follow me on the Fetty for fun ramblings about stuff. But yeah, nah. Stay safe, eat your greens, don't stay up too late. Make sure you switch your character classes. Make sure you use that golden orb before you enter battle, because that's always important. And remember, don't walk off buildings like I do, because that was a bit awkward. Peace.